What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode and live stream of Let's Get Nuts here on the Ben Thomas Show. Thanks for coming back. As always, we are here on Sunday getting nuts with the boys. I've got all of the great guys backstage waiting for me here. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about entertainment news, but the entertainment news was light, so I've got some comparisons, right? Some this versus that. Which would you eliminate? Which would you keep? Including Christmas dinner and Thanksgiving dinner. I want to get the boys' take on this as well as your participation in the chat. And then today for figure news, we got Hot Toys news, JAZZINC news, InArt news, and all of the good stuff. So guys, stick around. If you guys like the video today, hit the like button, smash the subscribe if you're new to the Ben Thomas Show, and of course, let's get nuts.
What are you doing? You're completely outnumbered here. Are you nuts? You want to get 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 nuts? Come on. Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Welcome back. Let's get our first guest of the day out here. Of course, you may know him as the co-host of Let's Get Nuts, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. One, Adam 12, back in the house again. Good to see you, buddy. How you doing, man?
Good to see you too, Ben. End of a holiday weekend, but it's a holiday month coming up here, so looking forward to it's one of my favorite months of the year.
I was curious about how it was going to land for you guys, because the weird thing for me, and I was joking with you guys backstage, last week, that for me, like, real Thanksgiving, because I'm Canadian, is in October. And so, teasing you guys, throwing some jabs a little bit, obviously, but, Christmas is so close to Thanksgiving for you guys that it made me think of my first comparison game of the day today. So I'm excited to see where you land on that, because I don't know if about you, but I'm definitely a foodie and I get excited about both holidays, but I've got usually enough kind of separation between Thanksgiving and Christmas for me. I'm curious how it's going to land for you, buddy. But dude, thanks for being back as this tradition. It was fun seeing you on Wolfpack Wednesday there with the boys on Wednesday last week. So
absolutely.
Hell yeah. Guys, our next guest in the house today, again, the pseudo Mr. Wolverine. We've got X-Men Supreme, Mr. Dave, back in the house again. Good to see you, buddy. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's good to be here. Good to see y'all's faces. I'm sitting here on eBay looking at this crappy Toys R Us Lady Deadpool because I want that Deadpool middle finger, because she came with a Deadpool hand with the middle finger, and I really want that, and I can't find it separate anywhere. And I want it.
The things we'll chase as collectors, like that, where you get that one idea in the mind and you're like, okay, that's the display, but how do I make it actually come to life? You might be able to get it 3D printed, like as an alternative, potentially.
Maybe. Find somebody who can do it, that'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, Zach Collecting Weekly does a lot for me. Mike's _ Adventure World does a lot for me. So if you're on a dual wall, think about chatting with those guys. But Dave, I was excited because you were probably the fieriest, if that's a word, the fieriest take on the blue Batman in our Let's Get Nuts chat last week.
I find that to be amazing.
Everybody else was ripping on it a little bit, but you were like, no, this is the worst, and here is why. So we're not going to spoil it because we got Dave here today to share his feelings. But
did I send you the pictures of it? I have pictures. Did I send you the pictures?
Share them in the Let's Get Nuts chat, and I can pull them up. I think you put some in there, but yeah, throw them in there for the show. But dude, thanks for being back. Excited to get the take, and excited to hear about your comparisons here as well. Of course, the other awesome panelist we have today, some might recognize this man as a junior Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, but I know him as Mr. Valkyrie Magnus, back in the house again, buddy. How you doing, man?
I'm awesome. Great to be here, and glad to be with you guys again. It's always great to be here. Thanks, Ben.
Hell yeah, dude. And it's fun. I love you guys because the chat doesn't know this, but when I got started doing the streaming all those years ago, this is back when Classy Thomas would jump on with me every once in a while, or Dean the Dream would jump on with me every once in a while. But I always felt bad asking people to come on the show because I felt like I was asking them to take time out of their weekend, and my weekend time is coveted for me. So like for me to ask that of somebody else was hard. But now you guys, you'll apologize when you can't be here with me every week. And Eric is one of those guys. He's like, sorry, man, sorry I can't can't be there. And for me, that's just like so heartwarming. I appreciate it, buddy. So thanks for being back, dude, as always. Our last and final panelist of the day today, one of the sexiest displays I have seen in some time. Let's be honest. We got pop culture relics, Mr. Luis, back in the house, buddy. How you doing? Look at that display in the back. Oh, every time.
Appreciate
every
that.
time.
That's beautiful.
Just putting everybody to shame. Putting everybody to shame.
As soon as I said sexiest, Luis was like, yeah. As soon as I said sexiest, Luis was like, where's he going with this? I don't know. He's like hovering above the exit stream button.
I appreciate it. No, and the display looks pretty good too. So thank you for those kind words.
There you go.
Good to be back, man. It's
it's been going for you in life lately.
Good. It's adulting. It's been I rotated some pieces, gotten some new things, sold some things. So just
what did you sell? What'd you sell? That's always the juice.
I've sold a pretty decent amount. Pretty much my Justice League, Snyder versus Dawn.
Did you sell into Valkyrie?
Almost. No. Most. I'd say DC now is kind of purely Nolanverse. Some Marvel I've sold, and it's mainly to find other pieces. I'm kind of going back to my roots of mainly Star Wars. So a lot of these were sold for the recent Darth Vader reveal helmet by EFX, and then some of it I put towards that J&D Joker. I think I almost sold maybe 8 figures to cover that. So yeah, it's,
damn.
Yeah, well worth it to me, of course. But yeah, man,
that was the Joker. That was the Joker J&D, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just trying to curate a little more, and like I said, I've always been kind of a quality over quantity, and starting to see a little bit more lately. So, yep.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Thank you.
Less is more sometimes for folks, right? I mean, I know there are collectors who have very divergent feelings on that. Some people feel like if you're a collector, you need to have everything. Right. For me, I've always been the type of collector, and you guys have heard me say this before, not that less is more, but more of the catered is more for me, or cultivated, I should say. Like when you come in my room, I want it to be, this is Ben in a nutshell entirely, right? Like not just because I thought it was cool, so I added it in, but this is me specifically. Austin Powers thinking the same thing every time. No, this is me in a nutshell. No. So guys, I'm so happy that you're back with us today, Mr. Luis. You're the man, buddy. Thanks for being back and sharing what you've sold.
Always a pleasure.
We have almost 30 people watching live already. Guys, if you don't mind, hit the like button on the way in the door. That'd be awesome. I'll say hi to the chat here, of course, with me here in a couple minutes. So stick around for that. But we're always going to warm up on Let's Get Nuts first. Like I said in the intro, we didn't have a ton of entertainment news that for me really stuck out, but I want to give time to people who really come in for the 6 skill section in the second hour. So in the first 45 minutes today, we're going to talk some comparisons, but we're going to talk comparisons of our favorite universes. But I'm going to start instead with Thanksgiving and Christmas first. Because, again, like I said with Adam there, he just shared with me on Wolfpack Wednesday what some of his Thanksgiving dinner items look like. But with you guys, especially in the States, Christmas is just like days away, it feels like at this point. Yeah. So how do you guys differentiate your Thanksgiving dinner to Christmas dinner being so close? And is there one that you guys actually look forward to more, and why? And I'm going to put a poll in the chat for the folks who are here as well, because I'm curious what those guys feel in terms of what's their favorite. But for me, I will say that I think I actually look forward to Thanksgiving dinner for me the most. I really love pumpkin pie. I really love the turkey and the gravy and the stuffing. And we do like a couple different things. Like we have like bean salads that we have here and potato salads. We don't do the macaroni like you guys do. So that's one that I got to figure out, as well as that one that you showed me the other day. What was it? The sweet potato spice pudding or something. Yeah. That one, I got to try and figure that one out. But I think I look forward more to Thanksgiving dinner in October, and then have usually something a little bit lighter going into the new year for Christmas. But I was curious, Mr. Adam, let's warm up with you. What's your favorite and why?
I love Thanksgiving, and typically my wife and I, the last 20 some odd years, have hosted Thanksgiving. With a few exceptions. We don't celebrate. We're Jewish, so we don't celebrate Christmas. Well, actually, that's not true. We celebrate what I call the Jewish Christmas, and the Jewish Christmas is Chinese food and a movie. That's the traditional Jewish Christmas. Get Chinese food takeout, and either go to a movie theater or watch movies at home. And I love Chinese food, so the interesting thing about Thanksgiving is I like getting together with family. This year we didn't. In the years past we used to go Black Friday shopping. I think with the internet and Amazon, we didn't do that. The last couple of years we haven't done that really. But I used to enjoy, particularly when my daughter was younger, and Toys R Us was open. We'd line up at midnight at Toys R Us to do like Hanukkah shopping for her and for my other nephews, but we just don't do that anymore.
No, fair.
I gotta go with Jewish Christmas because I love Chinese food
Christmas?
and I love just the quiet of sitting with my family and watching binging a few movies. We actually
That's
put
awesome.
on we have a tradition of watching A Christmas Story, the one with Ralphie. I'll Shoot Your Eye Out.
Yep.
We always watch
Yep.
that, and then
Love that
whatever might be coming out. Like this year, I'm sure we're gonna binge the next group of Stranger Things episodes which come out on Christmas. So I gotta go with Christmas.
Christmas dinner. One last question for you. Did you get anything for yourself for Black Friday? Any Black Friday sales that you took advantage of?
Well, I'm ordering my wife's. I'm getting my wife a computer because
Hope she's
her
not watching.
computer she's had for about 10 years is just pooped to bed. I got myself. This just came in yesterday. This is I get this from 1/6 Kit. This is
Hell
Cooper. It's a third party
From Interstellar?
From Interstellar, yeah. Space Exile, it's called. It's a really good figure.
It looks awesome.
And for third party, it's a good. You can see Matthew
Yeah, I
McConaughey.
see the
there.
likeness in there, honestly. Yeah, that's decent.
Yeah.
I like the outfit. I like the actual astronaut uniform too. That looks really cute.
Nice. It's nice and weathered. Yeah.
Yeah,
So this is my little present for myself.
cool. My gift to myself on Black Friday this year was the Starship Enterprise. I was able to lock it in on Thursday night at 10 p.m. online.
Nice.
And it's gonna be here. It's gonna be here on Tuesday. So I'm like, oh my god, I cannot wait. I think I might wrap it and still put it under the tree. And then I've got about 11 days at Christmas off, so I'm gonna build Lego, smoke, and watch a lot of Star Trek and random shit and have a good time. So very, very excited about that. But
Awesome.
Mr. Dave, what about you, buddy? And thanks for sharing that, buddy. I appreciate it. What about you, Dave? Christmas versus Thanksgiving dinner. Do you have an option? And what did you get yourself for Black Friday? Black Friday.
For Black
This
Friday.
year.
Black Friday
Friday.
was crazy
Yeah.
this year. No, them brack flies.
Black fries.
I Thanksgiving and Christmas is the food is all the same wherever I'm at. It's all the same. It's all good. It's all great. It's I don't really see any differences except maybe there's a fruit cake.
Ooh,
You know,
okay. Different pies.
but
Sometimes different pies.
same pies for me, man.
Same
Pumpkin
pies.
is king.
Okay.
Maybe I whip up grandma's Butterfinger pie. That's good.
Never
And if
had
you
that
don't know what
before.
Butterfinger pie is, it's exactly what it sounds like. You take a bunch of Butterfingers and you smash them up. You get them all,
Mhm.
and you put them in a pie crust,
Right.
and then you friggin' put whipped cream on it, mix them all up together, and you put that in the freezer, and you let it sit for however long. And when you pull that shit out, ooh man,
Sounds
you'll get
good.
diabetes real quick. But man,
Sounds
It's-
so
it's
sad.
delicious. My gosh, it's delicious. You make it once every 10 years and you won't die. But
Hell yeah.
yeah, it's good, man. But yeah, all the food, everything. I don't have like a tier list or anything. Like every single
Nope.
item on that table is good. It's
Mhm.
all good.
That's how it should be.
Put it all together and I'll eat
Even
it all.
better.
All
Yeah.
together. I don't care, man. It's all
When
great.
it mixes, oh, so good.
The cranberry sauce, I don't care. The friggin' the sweet potatoes or candied yams or whatever you want to call them, All of it, man. It's all great. The green bean casserole, all of it's good. All of it. I love it. It's
It's awesome, dude.
it's actually a problem.
And did you treat yourself? Did you treat yourself to anything for Black Friday?
Oh no. No,
No.
no. I've got too much coming. Too much on the way to be Black
Fair.
Friday. And man, I have one rule that
That's
I
fair.
try to stick to, and that's if I wasn't gonna get it anyway, it isn't a deal. So
Fair. That's fair.
so
That's a good
you
way to
know,
think.
unless there's something there that I've been waiting on, then nah, I'm good.
Then you're good. All right.
Yeah.
No, that's good. That's good. That's some self restraint, honestly. There, and in fairness, I bought the Enterprise at Black Friday. I don't think they gave any discount to that at all. Like, I don't think there was really any incentive other than.
Oh
it
yeah,
just
those
happened to
are all
be on Black
inflated
Friday
anyway.
weekend.
Yeah, like this is
100%.
MSRP. This is what we're selling it for. That's the same price. that
100%.
you always sell
I
it
still
for.
I have no idea how I'm going to display it or where I'm going to put it once it's built. But that's like that's
figure
a
it out
future
later.
2026 spend problem. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Get it
And
while the
Eric,
getting's
I
good.
100%. And these guys, Eric, reminded me of Black Friday back when you used to have to go like line up at the mall if you actually wanted anything and fight people through the front door for a Furby or for a Beanie Baby, or not me specifically, but action figures of that generation and stuff were the big things. Or video game consoles, that was another huge one back when I was younger. But what about you? Any preference here on Thanksgiving versus Christmas dinner? And did you treat yourself to anything? Because I know you treat yourself a decent amount, Mr. Valkyrie. So, or yeah.
So I do like Thanksgiving because our Thanksgiving tradition was, have this huge meal. Like we
Huge.
have just tons of food because my mom has a big family here. Like she has like 3 brothers and 3 sisters here. All their family would come over on for Thanksgiving, and then we would all wake up early and go to downtown Seattle, and which is really cool because the whole city is basically decorated like Christmas stuff all over the place. It looks awesome. There are lights and everything. So we do the Black Friday shopping back when we were kids, and then at the end or like towards the afternoon when it got dark, they would light up a big gigantic Christmas tree, lights over all the buildings. It was just when you're a kid in downtown Seattle, after Thanksgiving, it just felt like Christmas. And it's a great, tradition for my family. And then we sort of passed it out to my daughter. We took her to downtown Seattle as well. We did that last night. But I think at this point, my daughter was like, "No, Dad, we don't have to stay this time. We just go home." And I was like, "Okay." She got what she wanted. And for me, I didn't
That's all it
really...
takes.
Yeah. Let's see here. What did I did get like a what do you call it? A waitlist conversion, like around that time period. Like it was like the day before Thanksgiving. And it was the what do you call it? It's from that last it's a Ben Affleck movie from the Flash movie with the motorcycle.
Oh, like the bat suit, the panel back. Was it the tactical Batman suit?
It wasn't tactical. I think it was like he had the blue cape or like dark blue cape. It was and he had
X Games Batman.
Yeah. And then I was
like,
oh, right. And so I said, yes, break it up over 3 months. And I saw like, even if you break up the payments over 3 months, it was still a lot of money.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But I had to do it.
I'm the worst with waitlist conversions because for me, it's always like I'll put it on waitlist because I kind of want it, but I don't need it. And then you put it on waitlist and you'll like, sometimes you hope that they'll convert, obviously. And sometimes you're like, if it never converts, it's not the end of the world. And those are the ones that will convert for you that then test your strength as to whether you're willing to spend money on it still. You're like, haha, you got it again. What about now? Right? And I still don't buy them a lot of the time. So, but that's okay. It goes to somebody else, I suppose. But well said, Mr. Valkyrie. Luis, last but not least, of course, good sir, what about you? Any preferences here, Thanksgiving to Christmas dinner? And did you get yourself anything for the Black Friday sales this year? And boxers count, guys. As collectors, there's holes in that shit all the time. So no judgment. I'm just putting it out there.
Good questions. I would say for the sake of purely desserts, I go to Christmas. I like a good pie here and there, but I'll take cookies, gingerbread, all that stuff versus like your traditional pies. Or candied yams. So for us, obviously traditional Thanksgiving turkey. We do that. For Christmas, we'll do. My mom actually does a really good kind of like marinated roast, and then we'll usually throw in a small turkey. We do the whole holiday ham thing as well. I'd say like the desserts are just to me far better selection versus Thanksgiving. So purely on the sweet tooth side, I got to go with Christmas. Um, and for Black Friday, no. Thankfully, nothing. Uh, at least from what I've seen, that everything that's discounted is usually figures in the 1/6 scale that have been there for years. So nothing enticing.
Yes.
You know,
The shelves need to be clean.
Yeah,
Here,
the
please
shelf
take this free
wall
figure that nobody's wanted for the last 2.5 years.
yeah, you know, I'd say one of the better deals was like the Boba Fett 2-pack, and that was free now. I think that's probably one of their better deals, was 2 free figures essentially. Of course, I paid a couple years ago for it discounted, so just to see that, I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna fall for those anymore. But yeah, man, just biggest gift was not spending anything, I'd say, for Black Friday, thankfully.
Totally
so,
fair.
Yeah.
Totally fair. We in the chat, we had 23 votes of the over 40 folks that are watching. Christmas dinner wins with 52% on the poll versus a Thanksgiving dinner at 48%. Now that might be recency bias. Now you guys are just all excited for Christmas dinner coming up. I've got a harder game in mind though for us all for the next couple minutes, and there's going to be 3 of these. Okay, so this is going to be the first of 3 tabs that we're going to go through. I want to try to keep it pretty brief between the panelists because we don't want to be here all day necessarily, but I made these ones hard on purpose, or at least I think that they're hard. I think this first one might be a little bit easier for the chat watching, but I don't think it's going to be that easy for Mr. 1 Adam 12th and I. Let's pull this up first here. This or that. Star Trek versus Star Wars. I know. If you had to get rid of one and keep one, which one would you choose? For me, this is a hard one because I freaking love Star Wars. Love it. I have a huge Star Wars display. Absolutely love the films. I even like the prequels. I didn't love the sequels, but there's elements of it that I absolutely love. Some of the most iconic characters in the world. But I will say that it would be hard for me to part with Star Trek, truly. I grew up with Star Trek. My mom was huge with Star Trek for me. And so I actually, and I'm going to lose friends, think that I would eliminate Star Wars over Star Trek. I think I would keep Star Trek in my life. But I was curious, Mr. 1 Adam 12. What about you?
I'm like you. I grew up with, the 2 IPs that I've grown up with since I was like 3-4 years old. I can remember Star Wars and Star Trek. I remember watching the original series with Kirk and Spock, the reruns of that my aunt got me into that. And, of course, seeing the original trilogy when I was a kid, the prequel trilogy later, and, just being into everything Star Wars and everything Star Trek too. I would get Star Wars comics and I get Star Trek comics, the novels, both Star Wars and Star Trek, the expanded universe and both IPs. I've met Star Wars actors. I've met Star Trek actors, William Shatner, Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen. So a lot of other actors as well. So this is very tough because I love them both. I guess I would say I always go, Star Wars is my heart and Star Trek is my head, my brain. I always go with my heart. And if I had to save one, I got to go with Star Wars. Because that, as much as I love Star Trek, Star Wars is more important to me and is really goes to my heart. So I gotta save Star Wars, and regrettably gotta eliminate Star Trek.
That's surprising, if I'm honest. I because I know you got your Star Trek collectibles too. I thought you might go Star Trek. I thought we might be together in this, but that's fair. That is fair. X-Men, I know this is an easy one for you, buddy, because I know you are not a Star Trek fan. Which one would you choose here?
I mean, is it fair to say that in the science blank, realm, Star Trek is more science fiction, Star Wars is more science fantasy?
Mm-hmm. I can say that.
And I have a real hard time with a lot of science fiction just because it just gets kind of boring to me. The fantasy stuff is fun. Like, you don't have as much crazy stuff going on, by way of, outlandish powers and fights and all of that. And at least from what I've seen of Star Trek, like it feels more technical. It's like you're reading a tech manual versus reading a comic book. And I can't with that. I just can't.
Fair.
So I'm definitely keeping Star Wars there. Yeah.
That's fair. I mean, Star Wars is winning right now. Only 13% have said Star Trek. I'm glad there's a few of you out there that still are friends with me here. You love to see it. But no, well said, X-Men. I agree with that. I think one of the reasons that I liked Star Trek most was it was kind of a glimpse at what a possible future could be for humanity, right? What does that look like? Once we've got past the desire to have personal wealth and we're looking at the betterment of our civilization and our footprint in the universe and those types of things, I like that a lot. But you're right, like I'll put Star Trek on at nighttime so the girlfriend can fall asleep faster. You know what I mean? Like honestly, right? And like I love it. I watched a great Worf episode last night, but she passed out within 30 seconds. So yeah, not for everybody.
I think part of it too is the military aspect of it.
Sure.
The kind of government, aspect of it. That's never interested me at all in anything.
Makes sense.
I don't care about Saving Private Ryan. I just don't care. Like I don't care about watching anything like whatever the hot military movie is. It just doesn't interest me.
You know what would have been a better comparison, which makes your comment makes me think of, is Star Trek versus Battlestar Galactica. Then might have been actually a harder one. If
Star
you like
Trek,
Battlestar Galactica, because like Battlestar
Easy
still
peasy.
has the military rankings, right? But I mean, which Battlestar are we talking about though? The newer generation or the original? Because I say the newer generation is still one of the best shows I've ever watched in my life. But for me, it would still be Star Trek. So yeah. It's one of those things. Eric, are you on the fence with this? Is this an easy choice for you? Because again, we've got two more slides for comparisons.
It's really close for me because originally I started because I think I first watched Star Wars back in '77. I was about 5 years old, and I loved it, right? And then I saw Star Trek: The Motionless Picture, and I was bored out of my mind. But I saw Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. And that actually became my favorite all-time movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
okay.
I mean, after that, I started to appreciate Next Generation, everything like that. I just thought that Captain Kirk was like, or Admiral Kirk by that point was like my hero. I just loved how he outsmarted Khan and everyone else. And so I would put Star Trek just a little bit above Star Wars, but since there hasn't been too many movies lately, Star Wars is starting to catch up. But right now, I'll give it to Star Trek.
Fair. Star Trek. There we go. Quintigiri says, I love both, but if I'd lose one, I'd have to lose Star Trek. Hate to see it. Bricks Film says the only thing with Star Wars now is that everything that's new kind of sucks. Some people say that about the new the new Trek too, though. So I mean, that's hard. That is kind of hard.
I gotta say about the motionless picture, which is people joke about that. That film has actually improved with age. And
you're right.
There is a director's cut that came out, and the soundtrack to Star Trek Motion Picture is phenomenal. And that scene where Kirk first sees the refit Enterprise and the music there where he's like going on the shuttlecraft with Scotty, that's like Trek porn. I just like watch that over and over again. That's right.
Jar Jar Abrams destroyed Star Trek and Star Wars. You hate to see it.
Yeah.
Dave, I did not get the Tomy Enterprise A. It was beautiful, don't get me wrong. I'm jealous, but for me, if I was going to go in on a Tomy, it would have to be the Enterprise D from the Next Generation, which they haven't made yet, so I'm keeping an eye out for that one. But man, is that a sweet ship. And well said, Eric.
Yeah.
I thought because of your experience in aviation in your career as well, that might, that Star Trek might stand out a little bit more, even though obviously Star Wars is goated for all of us, right? Let's be honest. And I mean, like, this man is surrounded by Star Wars. So if the choice is Star Trek, I'll be shocked. But tell us then what your rationale is. What stands out for you? If I'm putting words in your mouth, don't let me. But what stands out for you, Star Wars versus Star Trek, Luis, if that's your choice?
It's a great question. I would say what I love most about Star Wars is obviously the characters, the Force. Huge difference between, like what Dave said, right? Fantasy versus more of the technical realism. The ships, the ships are just as much iconic as the characters. With the Falcon here, that's my all-time favorite sci-fi ship, hands down. Enterprise is very iconic. The shuttle as well. It's Star Trek has its like, yeah, it has its space for these iconic characters and ships, but I mean, Star Wars has the ships, the characters, the weapons, the music. It's just so good, and then, like you said, goated status in every way, and you kind of have it all. You can't have Star Wars without the music. You can't have it, without the ships, the weapons, lightsabers. I mean, that's what you see in my collection. Everybody who walks in, yeah, they see these figures from other franchises, but kind of the main center points being, like, you guys see Vader, right? The Falcon, the props. I mean, it's just, Star Wars does it so well. And to me, Star Trek just isn't quite there yet. But it's not to say that Star Trek is, trash. Not at all. I think if I was a big enough fan as Star Trek as I am Star Wars, if you guys ever looked at the QMX, I think it was QMX, the Enterprise, and I think they went out of business. But I want to say it was QMX, but they were actually the Enterprise they did was pretty much, I'd say, Grail status for a lot of Star Trek fans, and they were actually going to do a Falcon similar to the D'Agostini, where it has the open compartments and whatnot. But they never got around to do it. So yeah, definitely look that up. But Star Wars all the way, man. It's just has a little bit of everything that and captures what I'm looking for in a film franchise, and they hooked me from being a little kid to now. So, yep, easy decision, man.
And so it's interesting because I think of Star Wars, I definitely think of all of the the toyetic aspect of that franchise, right? There's so many cool things that as younger people would want in toy form. And when I think back to myself, even as a kid, I'm surprised that I like that Star Trek, especially The Next Generation, stuck out to me so aggressively, because there is so many episodes where they're very like political, or there's like debate episodes, or episodes where they're on the hologram, on the holodeck, right? Just having an adventure and stuff, but they're like less toyetic for sure. And yet I still had all the Playmates figures. I had the ships and the shuttlecrafts and all that kind of stuff. And I've been slowly acquiring it as an adult again, which is kind of funny. But I do agree, like, I think like Star Wars has it made when it comes to product selling and getting into people's homes, not just with the films, but also the cool stuff. Guys, we have 50 people watching live. If you're enjoying the show today, hit the like button for me. Would definitely be appreciated here. This next one, I actually made a slide for our friend Jay. Originally, I was going to do it one per panelist, but Jay couldn't make it today. He's feeling sick, so hopefully he's feeling better. This one may be difficult, it may be easy, I'm not too sure. But where did the poll end up before we move on? 85% Star Wars, 15% Star Trek. So pretty clean sweep with the chat anyways, that Star Wars for them is the favorite. What about this though? RoboCop versus Terminator. Some of our favorite types of cybernetic beings in the cybernetic universe of both of these. I think for me, this is a tricky one because I really love my RoboCop figure, for example. I really liked RoboCop 1 as a kid. That was some of the most violent movie I'd ever seen as a younger person at the time, especially. And never really loved Terminator, the first one, as a younger person, because it felt more like a horror movie than it felt science fiction. It wasn't truly until Judgment Day came out that I really grabbed onto Terminator and loved it. But I would say as a series, so this isn't just the first films, guys, this is the series, RoboCop series and Terminator series. I think I would still eliminate RoboCop, because while I love RoboCop, I really only love the first film, and that's about it. That's where it stops. I don't watch any of the rest. Whereas Terminator, I really still enjoy 1. 2 is goated. 3 was mid. And then I've liked some of the spin-off series. Like I love the Sarah Connor Chronicles, and there were some other things that they've done with the Terminator. So I would eliminate RoboCop. Pretty easy choice for me. What about you, Adam? Where are you at?
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. I love RoboCop, the first film. I have a RoboCop Hot Toys figure, which I love. I fond memories of my dad taking me when I was like 12 years old or something to see RoboCop, and my mom found out, and she was so pissed at my dad for like a week for taking me to see such a violent film. So it was a great bonding experience. But
I'm sure.
I think as a franchise, the first 2 Terminator films are just, they are goated. And, particularly Terminator 2 is one of the greatest action films ever made. I think the third Terminator, it's okay. It's got a great ending, a really good ending. And I like the Sarah Connor Chronicles as well. So as a franchise, the Terminator, I think, takes the win. But RoboCop is that first RoboCop is an outstanding film. The rest of them,
Not so much, eh? And I mean, it's interesting because Quinagary here says, shame on you, RoboCop 2 is amazing as well. I tried to rewatch that recently. Couldn't get through it, my friend. I honestly had a really hard time. Especially that one scene with that dancing dude. It was super weird. But I couldn't get into it. Whereas Terminator 1 and 2, historical rewatches, I just watch that shit all of the time. But again, that's why we put it here. Everybody hits differently with this kind of nostalgia. And then our buddy Jay, who's watching in the chat with us, who this slide was specifically for, says T2 all day, baby. And the reason I ask is because he's got an amazing RoboCop display as well as an amazing Terminator display. So I was like, how do you eliminate one of those displays from your actual collection room, right, if you get there? Mr. Dave, what about you? Is this an easy choice? Is it a harder choice? Where are you at for this one?
It is a pretty easy choice, I think, for me.
Okay.
I love both of these when I was a kid. I had the toys for both of them. I had all the toys. I was so spoiled as a kid. I had all the toys, and they were great. And there are good quotables from each of them. I always think about RoboCop when he was shooting around the guy on the wall, and he's like, "Thank you for not smoking." That was hilarious. That was so hilarious.
100%.
But for me, I haven't really paid either of them any mind since I was a kid. I really don't think too much about either one of them so much. There's a lot that I don't remember about them.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But Terminator was just so flaming cool. They were both cool.
Oh, yeah.
But Terminator, you got time travel, you got the whole paradox of John Connor. That plagues me still to this day. How the hell? We don't need to get into it now, but I gotta go with Terminator on this, because Terminator just it does inspire more imagination for me, I think.
That's fair. I think it's funny when we say, as a kid, we liked either one. And I would argue neither of these movies are for kids.
No,
a lot of us should not have been watching this as super young adults.
Yeah.
But, that's the way she goes. What about you? Valkyrie? Is this an easier choice, harder choice than the last slide? Where are you at for this one?
I actually love both movies, but just a quick story about both of these. I remember I was a young guy when I saw RoboCop, and when Clarence Boddicker got smashed and splattered everywhere, that was horrific for me.
Oh yeah, his arms blown off, and it was wild.
Yeah, but then for Terminator, that was funny because I was a kid in the 80s. Me and my sister would stay home because, like, for summer vacation, nothing to do but watch TV. Someone gave me the Terminator 1, and my sister and I watched it all the time. We were like, I think we're a bit too young to be watching this, but we never told our parents about it.
Nice.
And then, like, if we grew just a little bit older, I have a lot of family in the area, lots of cousins. So we actually turned it into a game. And instead of like tag, it was Terminator, and you had to run away from him, and he would, like, whoever it was had to run after us and tag us, and we're all terminated. So
could he run, or could he only slowly walk in your direction?
He could only slowly walk, but then I guess we realized, no, that's not going to work, so he's going to have to run after us too. So
Has a Nerf gun.
yeah. So it made it a little bit scary when he would run after us, but it was a lot of fun when we were kids. I remember that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well said. Good stories. Good stories. And you, Luis, what about you, buddy? Any thoughts here? What was harder? This one, last slide? Maybe not.
Both so far so easy, man. I got to go with Terminator.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's funny. RoboCop to me had more like just disturbing scenes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like to this day, when I think of like toxic sewage, I always think of, you know, the bald guy who gets the toxic waste on him and he just turns all like mutated and whatnot. Like, I can't go to any beach or any pier where there's like sewage, like spillage, like thinking, dude, I'm going to grow like an extra finger or something like that because of that scene. Or when Kane's, you know, brain gets smashed and whatnot. Those are like scenes as a kid that, I mean, these movies were geared towards kids, but they clearly were not. If I'm still like traumatized by them. And then Terminator, you know, especially T1, getting chased by the endoskeleton and that, you know, the machining, that still, you know, kind of creeps me out. So despite some of the more kind of gory scenes in RoboCop, Terminator, especially 2, of course, still my favorite of all the T-series. I plan on maybe if we ever get an update, but I actually have Prime 1 Platinum, the T800 on order.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's one that I've been looking forward to. I sold, unfortunately, my Hot Toys Terminator line. I'm super tempted to get the newer 2.0s, but like I said, I've been kind of thinning out some stuff to get some of these bigger pieces. But we'll see, man. They did such a good job. Obviously, those 2.0s are all waitlisted for the most part, so we'll see, man. But I gotta go an easy Terminator over this one.
I'm excited for that, man. I'm excited for that. Figure it out. EM4SN says it was crazy times. Neither movie was aimed at kids, but they still made the toys for us, which is 100% true, right? Like, that's how they get you. That's how they get you. No, that was fun. I like that one. Okay, last but not least, and then we're going to move into some 6-scale news because I feel effectively warmed up today to talk all of the cool shit. Let's be honest. We got DC versus Marvel. Very broad. But I'm like, this is hard because we are literally surrounded by cool shit all the time, whether it's Terminator, whether it's RoboCop, whether it's Star Wars or Star Trek, whether it's DC or Marvel. And as we progress as collectors, a lot of the time we really have to think about cultivating our collection. What do we need versus what are we willing to move out, right? I mean, Luis talked a little bit about this, you know, moving the Snyderverse out of his collection earlier, not because you don't like the Snyderverse anymore, but because you need room for other things that hit you in that nostalgic punch in the chest just that little bit more, right? And, you know, we're constantly fine-tuning our displays and collections and IPs until we finally get what we feel is perfect. And is there ever a level of perfection? Probably not, because as soon as you get to that one last figure and you're like, that's going to be it, that's going to put the icing on the cake, something else cooler is going to come out and you're going to be like, well, shit, I guess I'm back in again. And it's the way she goes. So the DC versus Marvel, while it's broad, is also kind of difficult in terms of collecting and favorites. Now, I would argue that in terms of films, that's a hard one. Because I grew up on Batman. For me, I think I would eliminate Marvel either way, because Batman specifically is my favorite, like, superhero kind of character. I didn't know he's not a super, but, like, you know what I'm saying. but I would say that I like a lot of the Marvel movies more than a lot of the DC films that exist. So if I had to eliminate an IP based on collecting, I would still eliminate Marvel begrudgingly, only because I'd still want the DC pieces that hit me from being a kid all the way through. But both are wins for me. It's really hard to choose which one I would want. So this is why I needed your guys' help here. Adam, if you had to choose DC or Marvel, whether it's your love for the films or collecting or both, how would you make your choice?
This is actually harder for me than Star Wars versus Star Trek.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
when it comes to films, I grew up with the Christopher Reeve Superman films, and then later the Keaton Batman. And I love those films. Like, I'm looking at my desk right now. On my left hand side of my desk is the Corn Sweat Superman, and on the right side is on the shelf some of the Avengers, Captain America, Iron Man, Black Widow, Hawkeye, War Machine, or on either side of my desk. So in terms of the comic books, growing up reading them, I got to give the edge to DC, because I think I really loved the Frank Miller stories, the Dark Knight, Batman Year One, the Watchmen, John Byrne's reboot of Superman in the 80s. Love those comics. As in terms of as opposed to, and I love the X-Men comics growing up, but I kind of give the edge to DC more. Crisis on Infinite Earths. However, when it comes to consistency of movies and filmed content, I have to give the edge to Marvel, because as much as I love the first two Christopher Reeve films, and I love the Keaton films, and to me the Nolan trilogy is one of the greatest trilogies of all time, the Dark Knight trilogy. I think certainly the first three phases of the Marvel Cinematic Universe have given me such pleasure that I haven't had since the original Star Wars trilogy. And in terms of the collection of figures that I have, I mean, it's no contest in terms of, I have a ton of Marvel figures. So I'm going to have to go with Marvel in terms of getting the edge.
Like being the one you'd keep, sorry?
I would keep Marvel, yeah.
You'd keep Marvel, okay.
Because to me, that just consistency, I go back to watching those, particularly those first three phases of the MCU up through Endgame. But even since Endgame, there's some like Deadpool, Wolverine, Spider-Man No Way Home. There are some films that I enjoyed. Shang-Chi. So there's films that I've enjoyed a lot. Sure. Not every one of them have been as bangers as the first three, but they've been some really good ones in there. Fantastic Four, I really
100%.
enjoyed.
Loved it. I loved Fantastic Four. Way more than I was expecting. So no.
And I just pre-ordered all four of those figures. So I'm like, that's,
you did.
To me, that's the endorsement. If I got all four of those figures, I'm like, yeah, I got to go with Marvel.
God damn, that's crazy.
Make mine Marvel.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. On Facebook Marketplace today, I worked a deal to get the Adam West Batman and the Arkham City Batman, because I love the Arkham games, some of my favorite games of all time, playing as Batman, and I need Adam West Batman to complete my display of chronologically all of the Batmans that existed on screen, right? For me, awesome. Anyways. And so I did a deal for that, and I got each for about $250 Canadian. So what's that? Wow. Probably like 190-ish, somewhere in that range for US dollars. So very excited. But again, I also love my Marvel. Now Dave is surrounded by Marvel content, so I'd be shocked if it was DC, but it can still be a hard choice because we grew up with both. What sticks out to you, buddy? Which one would you keep and which one would you eliminate?
If I didn't love Batman, I would have so much more money and so much more space. But like, if all I had was Wolverine, I'd be so happy.
Mm-hmm.
If that was all I had, I'd be so happy. It's Wolverine over everything, X-Men over everything. So it's very, very easy. I've always been a true believer. So it's definitely Marvel for me.
Definitely Marvel.
Just so much. Wolverine is better than everybody for me, so that's all there is to it.
That's fair. What is your favorite DC hero then?
Oh, Batman, definitely.
It is Batman. Okay, that's what
Yeah, absolutely.
That's fair.
My first superhero, I think, was Spider-Man. But then I found Batman, and then I found Wolverine, and then it was just over. Like I was done. I found my guy. Didn't need any more. X-Men,
That's
Wolverine, all day, every way is great.
And it's funny you say the Spider-Man, because I actually almost did Spider-Man versus Batman. Which one would people choose? But I was like, this is close enough, right? Because if you love Spider-Man, you're still going to probably choose Marvel either way. So covers all the bases.
Oh, yeah.
But absolutely. Absolutely. Ron E., one of our channel members, says DC is better. End of story. Ooh, love to see. So definitive. What about you, Luis? DC versus Marvel. What's your favorite? Which one would you keep? Which one do you eliminate?
This one, definitely the hardest of the choices so far as far as slides. I would have to go with DC. Marvel, yes, as a film franchise, I think they're the number one. They overtook, I think the Bond series was second. And most of their films, I would say, are solid overall. Not these past years, of course, but you can't deny the Marvel machine that just prints money for the most part every time they make a film. So on a film level, yes, they are better than DC, but character-wise, I got to go with DC, and because of that, DC for sure, all the way. Batman, Nolan verse is probably my second favorite trilogy of all time. I'd say maybe Indiana Jones, then Terminator, before all the newer content. But yeah, I think Christian Bale, despite growing up with Keaton was my number one, and then Bale came out and just barely edges him for me. But the Joker, I mean, hence why I spent what would be 8 to 10 figures on one Joker figure. He just nailed that performance, and because of that, will always be that iconic role that took the DC franchise, to the next level. And really, after that, Marvel saw what DC was doing, and they're like, let's try to mimic that, right? Yeah, that DC, especially with Nolan, they created something so special that there's a reason why these companies are still making 100 Jokers and versions of Bale Bats. It's just something that, as much as we want it to go away, they put something out, they bring us back, and it's a 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. Yeah, it'll just never stop, just like we see it with Spider-Man and Iron Man. But for whatever reason, the Nolan stuff just keeps going and seems to be selling out probably more and fetching a higher aftermarket than a lot of the Marvel stuff. So, yeah, I got to go with DC. Long story short.
Long story short, love it. Absolutely. Let's see where the poll ended up then here, guys. On the poll ended up being DC 68%, Marvel 32%, which is, kind of in line with most of us, I would say, for the most part there. It did look like on the RoboCop and Terminator one was 75% of the vote, with Robo being at 25%, of course. So, again, pretty in line, I would say, for the most part. Star Wars, again, beating out Star Trek 85-15. So pretty wild, guys, but I feel warmed up. I feel ready for some figure news. Hopefully you guys do as well. Thanks for participating in the elimination. Don't hate any of us. If this isn't in line with you and what you love, that's cool. That's why we have fun and get nuts on Sundays. All of the above. But guys, we have over 50 people watching live. Love you guys for being here. Thanks for getting nuts with us on Sunday. Again, if you can hit the like button if you haven't already. I'm going to remind you over and over because I myself am terrible at doing it, even on my own friends' streams. When I watch my friends stream and I'm like, man, this is such a great stream, I forget to like it all the time. So don't forget, that'd be appreciated. It gets the stream out to everybody out there. For some housekeeping before we say hi to everybody in the chat, if you're interested in the channel membership, it is pinned in the comments there. Of course, these are some of our emojis that we can use while we're streaming together. Make sure you throw a good old nut buster in the chat if you can. Always appreciated there. And then the Hall of Nut Armor, I was letting everybody know, at least under my Let's Get Nuts group, group, but just in case you are a membership king and you're waiting on your stickers, I have now had to reprint a batch and resend them out because I am convinced that Canada Post lost my first batch. I don't think they're ever going to arrive for people. Only 3 of the 15 people that I sent envelopes to even received them. So I just said, screw it. I've remade them and they're getting resent out. So you guys should see them here within the next week and a half, 2 weeks, if you are a Nut King. But thanks for your patience there. These are some of the stickers and of course membership badges if you are a channel membership king. You'll love to see it, or a classy Nut King. And these are all of our classy Nut channel members here as well. If you want to see your name up on the board here or at the end credits of every Ben Thomas Show video, make sure you become one. It's only $1.99 and it goes a long way for figure giveaways and the channel itself. I love you guys. Thanks for doing that. But of course, with all of that being said, and I catch my breath, let's say hi to the chat.
Is that everyone? I keep wanting more.
Nuts!
Assemble.
Let's get nuts. Nuts assemble. We've got here 58 people watching. We got X-Men Supreme here in the channel and on the panel and in the membership. You love to see it. Welcome back. Of course, Mr. 1 Adam 12 here with us as well. You love to see it. King Dingaling wouldn't be a stream without you, good sir. Thank you so much for being here as always. Mr. Trevor Weed, or you some kissing? You some kissing? I don't know what that means, but I know you as Trevor Weed, so good to see you here, Mr. Trevor. Mr. Mark AP, let's get nuts. You love to see it, buddy. Thanks for being back. Mr. Valkyrie Magnus, The Rock Jr. in the chat and on the panel with us. You'll love to see it. We got Pedro Lopez with us as well. Hello, all. Good to see you. Mr. Moose Stream in the chat with us. Hello, community of collectors. I paid my Spider-Man 78 coming this month. You'll love to see it. I'm excited for your photos, good sir. Make sure you share them with us all. Mr. Blurred Dad Life in the chat with us. Let's get nuts. Good to see you, buddy. Mr. Ron E, one of our channel members as well. Let it be known, I bought the blue and gray Batman. Oh, we're gonna slay that figure in the next couple minutes. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. But I'm glad you got it, my friend. If you like it, that's freaking awesome. When we say, this figure is for someone, you, sir, got the t-shirt. You'll love to see it. We got Jose Plus with us here in the channel, as well as, of course, always, what's up, fellas, with the nut emoji. You love to see it. We got Dave's Man Cave in real life. Love to see it here as well. Good to see you, buddy. Pop Culture Relics, Mr. Luis in the show with us and on the chat and panel and membership. Mr. Ash Chase. What's up, Plastic Crackheads? Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being back. We got Mr. Will Foxification Avengers level panel. If you missed it, if you like Will, if you're a fan of his show, he had Kiko Collects back on with him on Friday last week. It was great to see Kiko. Hopefully he and his family are doing okay health-wise and collecting-wise and all of the things. We send our love from our Let's Get Nuts show to them. But make sure you go and check that out as well, because my buddy Dean the Dream Martin is always on with him every Friday and is always a good time. So Will, you're the man. Hope you're doing great, buddy. Let's see here. I don't want to miss anybody. We got Fig Poser in the chat with us. What up, though? Good to see you here. We got Figure It Out EM4SN. Hello, everybody. Good to see you. That's a hard one to read out. Let's see here. We got Thor Gaming, my brother Jake, in the chat as well. Good to see you, buddy. Hopefully you are doing well. I got some big news coming. I'm excited for you on that one. Let's see here. Bricks Films 101 Star Wars is goated. Love to see it. Quita Gary in the chat with us as well. Good to see you, as was Star Trek. He's pushing it back there. We got Mr. Lane Kramer, Jagron 2 in the chat. He says, this week was shaped by Batman. We just find just sick to look out the Batman that just made us sick looking at it. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Well, not for everybody, apparently. Let's see here. JB Joker, Star Wars OT. Definitely love to see it there. Thanks for your patience, guys. Well, I make sure I say hi to quick everybody. Travis Molitar 86. How many themes are played on Theremin? Star Trek has that. Well, you're not wrong. Pete Nick in the chat. Con! You love to see it. Johnny Chronicles with us as well. Good to see you here, my friend. He says, evening all, OT Star Wars and Star Trek all day. Hell yes. Hell yes. Let's see. I think that's almost everybody. I appreciate you guys. See, I got to work on my memory because I got to make sure that I don't forget anybody that I've already said. I think that's everybody. Let's see real quick. 3, 2, 1. I think I got you. Clinton Martin. Oh, you got in right at the end. Marvel Easy. You love to see it. If I missed you guys, make sure you shout it out in the chat and I will read your names here live. Batman_collectible. We almost missed you. Evening, Ben Thomas and panel. Great to see you here. Let's move on with the show, guys. Let's move on with the show. Blue Batman, Blue Keaton, as they say, is here. Now, this is an interesting one because this got announced. Everybody ripped it to shreds, especially with regards to the pouty mouth plate. And then I think it was literally the next day, it basically shadow dropped. The 1,500 units on this. A lot of us, kind of unilaterally tore this thing apart, especially in the comments. I don't love negativity when it comes to 6-scale collecting, but this was one that as soon as I saw the first photo pop up on Facebook, I did jump directly to the comments just to see like what were people saying, because I was like, oh my God, like what? So weird. What happened? Like the forehead wrinkles in the cowl, while they're in the film, definitely changed the likeness to this character, in my opinion, dramatically in the cowl. And there's some reuse here as well that I thought people would be more upset by, but really it was just this cowl that people really seem to kind of latch onto. Now, we're going to give Dave a chance here shortly, but so I want to leave some meat on the bone. But I think the one thing that I wish they had done here is essentially giving us either an empty cowl so that we could display it as like a suit within your armory display. I think that would have been really, really cool. Or at the very least, potentially just a different expression cowl to go along with it. While this is shown in the movie, I think it would have been cool to have also just the 89 cowl painted blue, so you could have kind of a different look. And some people will say, well, that's not canon to the film, Ben, like that wouldn't make sense. But I would argue the brown suited Wolverine that we got recently, who also came with a cowl, wasn't shown in the movie with a cowl, but they threw that in with the figure. So why couldn't they give us a different Batman cowl as well? I think that they could have done that at the very least, because everything else here, at least in terms of accessories or reuse, it is a different body though. When I see people out there saying, well, they just basically repainted the Keaton Batman, that's not true. That this is a different suit. They actually put time, R&D, and work into this. It just kind of stands to be seen as, is it working for you or not, right? Lastly, the one thing that they made kind of confusing for a lot of people was that they actually showed a Keaton head sculpt from Batman Returns actually on this, but it says it's interchangeable with that head sculpt. It does not come with the figure, so don't let that trip you out. That is the one area where I would say, it's an expensive placeholder, but if I was going to get this figure, might have been the reason I got it. But without the blue emblem, he looks kind of naked in a weird way as well. So overall, I will say, well, obviously at least 1,500 people out there, probably about 600 collectors and the rest scalpers, let's be honest. While there's 1,500 out there that got this thing and hopefully love it, this was one that I was absolutely willing to skip very much right away. And I will say, Adam, it was hard for me because when they showed that Christian Bale blue and gray outfit last year, at that time I said if they made any other suit in the blue and gray scheme, I'd go for it, any other one. And they proved me wrong here, because with this expression, simply not the case. What was your take here, Mr. Adam, on the blue Keaton? Oh, you're muted. Yeah.
This figure has been beat to hell in the last week or so. I almost feel bad continuing to tear this thing apart. I think if you were gonna get it, and clearly 1,500 people are getting it and they like it, art is subjective, certainly. I just think having an opportunity, if you're getting the Batman Returns and you want to display the Batman Returns figure with the cowl, and you want to have a figure to put the Keaton head sculpt, I think that makes sense. I just wish they would have had the bat symbol on his chest, because it looks kind of weird without the bat symbol. That's just my on that respect, but I can understand in that respect why you get it. Listen, I'm not someone who trash talks figures, and I'm generally not a negative person, but I have to say, in my almost 2.5-3 years collecting, this is probably the worst Hot Toys figure I've seen, and I've seen some ones where I wasn't as crazy about, but this is just that those the cowl and the face plates. I mean, it just horrendous. That one that looks like the meme of the girl in the high chair, or the car seat, I should say. It looks really bad. I wish that they, like you said, they had a that they had the white, first of all, white, instead of the eyes, like white eyes, like a traditional comic book look, and or that you could just, like the an additional sculpt that you could just use it as an armory figure and not a mouthless sculpt. So you could display it just as kind of an accessory, essentially. It's but hey, listen, what do I know? 1,500 people got the FOMO and they ordered it, and right now Hot Toys and Sideshow they're counting the money. So clearly, anyone who didn't like this, they've been proved wrong by the buyers. So
I very much thought this line was just done at this point, especially when they canceled Young Barry, which was still a pretty critical aspect of that entire film. Like, this suit was in it, but it was not even a 10-second panning shot, right? Like, I mean, it was very, very briefly in there, whereas Young Barry was like a full out character that they canceled in the film, right? So kind of wild to me that they've even gone back to it at this point. Now, I mean, obviously there are a couple outfits here. We see the Keaton outfit, we see the modern suit in the front, we see the returns in the back, and then the blue side on the left there. Now, the blue one that I see from this image has white lenses in it. So, shout out to Kiko Collects, who on Will's show on Friday had said, well, if you got this, just like you did with this Christian Bale Batman, technically you could roll the eyes around in the socket so they would still look white in terms of like the pupil almost. But it wouldn't, like, to me, it's not still quite the whole look, right? Like, whenever it's the white shades like that, it's like a white shade that goes over not just the eyeball, but like the actual like eye socket as well. So I think it would still look a little bit weird, but I mean, maybe you could tweak it. The downfall is, like, if you pop those mouth plates out, it's a very obviously like whole peg that's there. So it's not like it's just an empty mouth cowl anymore. It's a really ugly blowhole, which I don't know, doesn't look good for Batman, in my opinion, of course. And I have put a poll in the chat because we got over 60 people watching, so I'm curious: loved it, hate it, or neutral? Just happy for the other people that got it. Dave, I'm going to skip to you first because I'm curious. I want to get your take here on this, and I'll share some of the photos that you sent me as well. Again, lots of people loved this, lots of people hated it, more people hated it, I think. And there's lots of people that were neutral on this. I expected your take to be more neutral, if I'm honest, but you were pretty passionate. Tell us why you were so passionate with regards to this figure, buddy.
All right. So, I almost today got onto Keynote and made a whole ass slideshow. And I said, no, calm down. Let's just show the important stuff here. And I can speak on the rest. Where do I want to begin? I really wish we knew how many of these Sideshow got, because I have seen that some are available in other places, the usual suspects.
Yep.
But we don't know how many they got. So we don't know exactly how many Sideshows sold or how many they've sold all around. But it is crazy to me that Sideshow sold out of them. Maybe they didn't order a whole lot. I don't know. But there are a few things that I keep hearing from people that are just categorically wrong. One being the reuse aspect. Now, while I do believe that the gloves, the hands, are reuse, this is a whole new cowl. This is a whole new suit. And I've heard someone compare the suit, like the bottom half of it, to the modern suit. And there is that one panel line on the thighs, but that's the only similarity. This is a fully new suit. They made a new belt. They got a new cape for this. which actually doesn't look bad.
Mhm.
But
Consider, yep.
they went to all of this effort to make a whole new almost everything for this figure. And they did not pay one damn bit of attention to what was on screen. They got the little weird pillow abs, which is fine. This is a shot. Now I want to point out, this took me like 30 seconds to find.
Mhm.
I went to Google. I said, hey, the Flash Batman blue and gray suit. One of the first things they put up was a video on YouTube where they're interviewing the guys who made the suit for Michael Keaton. And they didn't focus on this particular suit. It was just there hanging out in the background.
Right.
But this suit in proper light looks pretty similar to what we saw in the movie in the dark light. It was darker, so it was hard to tell, but you can tell very easily this suit is so much darker than the blue that's here. Right?
Definitely.
Like
Quite a
it
bit
looks a
darker.
lot better being darker. The gray is a bit darker as well,
Like,
which again
way
also
more
looks
blue.
better. The lenses, we've already touched on that. You can't really see in this picture the furrowed brow. You could see it in the film though, so I'm not gonna trounce them on that.
Right here on the
But-
left hand side.
Yeah,
Right here.
but
Yeah.
they took so much artistic license making this fucking thing wrong. They could have made everything else right and taken that artistic license and said fuck off with those furrowed brows. Is what they could have done. But they chose violence. These motherfuckers. They talk about how this is the suit from the movie. And I'm like, I want the suit. I want the whole armory. I want them. I want the suit from the movie. This is not that. This is not what the fuck they showed me. This is not what the fuck I want. And even the elements that are like it, like the ab section, it's a little bit more pronounced. Looks a little bit friggin' weird. It doesn't not look weird in the film either, but oh my gosh. And every single Batman figure, I've always said this, should have an empty cowl. Every single one. It should always be a thing that when you get a Batman figure, there's going to be an empty cowl, so you can just put it on him and you can just have it standing there like it's just sitting there waiting for him to put it on, right? Everyone wants that. No one's doing it, and it's awful. But this suit right here, there is one person that this suit is made for, and it is the modder. It is the guy who's going to take this thing and make it look better, which you should not have to do.
Mhm.
At first, when I saw it, I was like, well, it might be kind of funny to have, but that's money that I'm not spending just for a fucking goof. All right. Like that's dumb as hell.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of my venom out earlier this morning. I got real heated about it and I just let it all go. But this
He got
is,
nuts by himself, guys. I hate to say it.
I really, it hit me. It struck me at the weirdest time and I was not expecting it. And I was just so mad. But this is bullshit. This is absolute garbage. This is the hottest fucking garbage. Like
what's interesting?
Keaton, he deserves so much better than this. Keaton
It's
deserves so much
interesting, Dave,
better
too.
than this.
Because you're right in the sense of like the artistic license piece, right? They do take a lot of artistic liberties in other characters and other figures. And like, while I get it that the forehead wrinkles are in this empty cowl like suit at the back, right? That makes for a really cool armory display. You would think that they like, once they actually put eyeballs in this thing, that they'd go, oh my God, that looks ridiculous. Like we can't give this to people, like, or give us both options, because like you said, people are going to go out of their way to now spend more money to try and improve a figure that they literally just got in their display just because it looks so wonky with that that expression. And part of me thinks that they went in half-assed like this, Dave, because there was a slide at one point about a year ago, or like a photo where all of the armors were set up, but they were set up as though they were an armory display, as opposed to individual figures, and I wonder if they pivoted. I wonder if they went, this movie is not doing as well as we thought it would. We've already got balls deep in this look already. So as a result, let's just make it a figure instead, put that out the door, and call it a day.
Well,
but
if you look at
as the
that,
result comes off as lazy.
The picture that they put out initially, they each had individual bases, and some of them you could read the names on them, which was cool. That looked like the round ones that they'd been doing for that movie, and that would be great to do that because it would just add to the displayability of it. But like they had a mold for that was still wrong back then, and then they went and upsized everything for that convention where it was all life size, and it was still wrong there. And the only saving grace for me was that, well, they're not gonna fucking do this. They're gonna show us this cool thing, and they're not gonna make it because that's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And then they went and made it. But Hot Toys here did a very un-Hot Toys thing, because we know how much they love to reuse stuff. And ironically, this would have been so much better if they had just reused shit. If they had just taken like the '89 cowl and made it blue, that would have been so much better than what this shit is. That would have been so much better than what they gave us. Like they tried to fail here. Like they didn't just like put in half of the effort and be like, well, it's good enough. No, they actually made a big effort to fuck this up.
Interesting.
And it's just it's unforgivable to me.
I also just think, like, even like you mentioned on the color scheme aspect of it, right? Because even like obviously things look different once they're color rendered and they're edited and stuff for film. But when you do see the actual props on display or like things that they've used for the film, if there's such a quick reference at your fingertips, right, then why not go after that reference? And we've even had this criticism of InArt in the past, right, where it's like, guys, like you're making these premium figures, and yet there's still some subtleties that could be added just to take it to that next level.
And they have access.
Yes,
they have access to this shit. They can get a hold of Warner directly, and somebody at Warner, I am 100%. Assuming, had to sign off on this, right?
Yeah. They signed off on it as the cash grab that it is, as opposed to the figure that people maybe were.
And that's the weird thing about it is it's. I feel like it's a cash grab in name only, because they did put effort into this. They did make new shit. They tooled new stuff, and this is. I don't get it. I just don't get it. If Hot Toys had just been lazy, this would have been better. Isn't that fucking nuts? I can't even.
Ronnie says they tried and people cried. Yeah,
it makes me so sad.
This to me is like that scene in A Christmas Story where Ralphie he writes the essay about getting the BB gun, and he has a fantasy where the students and the teacher are going to lift him. He's going to get A++ on his grade, and the students are going to lift him up over their shoulders in a big victory lap. And he's like he'll be a huge hero. And what happens? The teacher gives him back his essay, and she writes like D-. You'll shoot your eye out, kid. And that's what I feel like the artists who did this, they're like, oh, the collectors are gonna love us. They're gonna love us. And then they tune in after they release it to all the streams, and they're like, oh shit. So
everybody hates us.
How
We're
it is right now.
And then he looks like this guy with the teeth.
D+ Hot Toys.
Yeah, and like the reuse of the mouth plates, like that squirrely mouth plate on this one makes him look like he's saying like, "I'm Batman, I'm Batman." You know?
He looks so apologetic and sad. He's like, "I know, I suck. I'm sorry."
They got so caught up with whether they didn't know if they should.
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
They should. Need to see.
Go back to that one Photoshop one. The one with
this. Yeah.
That, look at how much better that is.
Right. Yep. Color
That's all they had to do.
Color saturation wise, and just the regular Keaton heads cowl, right? 100%. 100%. For all of those out there who are sensitive to swearing, this is for you folks.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast. It jumped up a notch. It did, didn't it?
but appreciated just the same, because I think there was a lot of people that felt the same way that you did, Dave. You know, not to make a joke of it. Like, there was a lot of people that were like, "Damn, this is not what I wanted," you know, which is fair. But again, they only made 1,500, and I agree with you when you say, like, what were the quantities? The fact that they keep making limited items, Hot Toys being they keep making these limited items, but because they're not numbered, we don't really know how many are made. So did they only sell 400 of these on Sideshow before they were like, yeah, it's good enough? Like, we don't want to have this thing live forever on the website because we called it exclusive. We have to show that people wanted this, so let's sell it out faster. Because I mean, that ballerina sat for like 5 days after people were tearing that thing apart, and not a good look when you're putting something out there that's supposed to be exclusive and people don't buy it, right? But because they're not numbered, we don't know 1,500 people that got this. For all we know, they made 3,000 of these, or 500. Like, we have really no idea as collectors.
You know what? There
sucks.
Is one silver lining. There is one silver lining here. I think if this does end up selling well enough for them, I do actually hope that it does, only because I hope that this encourages them to make the rest of the suits. And I hope that it encourages them to make them right.
I think, right? I think
well,
they only
there's
have 2 more.
1, 2, yeah, 3 more. 3 more. There's the true gray ones, and there's the flight suit there.
Right. Yeah. The flight suit, I think, would be badass, but it also has kind of some odd wrinkling on the head as well. A little bit different, though, not as concerned looking. I think that's the weird part about this wrinkled one, is it looks so freaking concerned. You know, like, what's happening? Is not confident Batman at all. Valkyrie Magnus, and great take, Dave. Great take. Thanks, buddy, for your thoughts on that. Mr. Valkyrie Magnus, what was your take here? Maybe less fiery, because I know you're a very positive gentleman, but at the end of the day, we're still collectors, and we expect a lot from our companies that we buy, spend all this money from. So what were your thoughts here on Blue Batman?
Well, you might be upset with the fact that I actually did buy this.
I'm never.
I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed, Eric.
What was your calculus?
It didn't bother me as much. I mean, I looked at it. I'm like, yeah, I didn't like the wrinkles. I mean, that was kind of off, but it didn't bother me, and that's why I bought it. I think, and also, you know what? If I put it like 10 feet away, it'll look great 10 feet away. You won't see the wrinkles.
That's fair. I mean, that's an interesting perspective, actually.
Yeah,
because you're right. We do look at our displays at a distance, so I can appreciate that.
And plus, I know some people, like for me, I used to watch a show back in the 1970s called The Super Friends, and the Batman show. It was like blue, gray, and I loved that. And of course, we saw that in the comic books too. But I really wanted this, and I think I'll be happy with it.
Totally. Well said. I'm glad you got it, man. And honestly, again, the people who said they got it seem like they're liking it. So for the most part, no. So our take is not to take away from the folks out there who enjoy it. I think that's cool, and it helps to differentiate your display, right? That's the thing. We don't want all of us to have the same display. I mean, even if it's a figure we don't love, like that's still part of collecting. What about you, Luis? Where did you land on this one when you saw this pop up in the news last week?
It's funny. The first thing I thought of was Philly at Figurecraft. Obviously, he's still working on his Batcave display, and this was like one of the first people I reached out to was, dude, this has your name written all over it. I don't know if he got it, but
he got it.
He got it, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I figure, but like what Dave was saying, they already retooled the cowl. What's another 20 minutes in adding those white eyes or lenses, right? Like, if you're gonna do it right. And this is just Hot Toys going back to Hot Toys ways, where they're gonna change up some pieces, do a variant, and then sell it as a show exclusive or whatnot, because they know no one else is gonna touch this film, and that's why they do it. So it's unfortunate. I also said they could have included the empty cowl. This screams Hall of Armor, but of course they didn't. And who knows? Maybe they'll make a 2.0 the 10-year anniversary and give collectors what they really wanted. But I just chalk it to same thing with all the Iron Man marks, right? With Iron Man 3, you had, 50 marks maybe?
Mhm.
And it just goes back to,
Mark 85 even.
yeah, you if you're a completist, and thankfully there isn't much material out there that Hot Toys can work with, so to them, they're just doing what they know will print money, and it worked. 1,500. This could be a figure we all regret not passing because it could fetch $1,000 or $2,000 in the aftermarket. Who knows? But I don't see this being made again, if ever, and if it is, it's going to be years down the road. And it's just one of those things where, again, if you're a big Keaton fan and a Batman fan, and you want that completist line, that you kind of have to get it. Not maybe because you love it, but just because you kind of have to. But again, I may be wrong, Eric. I'm not sure. You kind of feeling that way, or?
Yeah, I mean, like also, there's a little bit of like, will we get another one? And what do you call it? If I get it,
never.
probably never. But I mean, hopefully it does come out the way we want it to. But I'm good with this right now. Yeah, it works for me.
What I'm hoping doesn't happen is that, Hot Toys sees all the comments and takes it as a reflection of that we as collectors don't want a blue, gray, and yellow color scheme. Yeah. Because if they take it that way, I'll be devastated. There are so many other representations of Batman that they could go with this color scheme. Well, like whether it's in like the live action films, like I'd love to see a Ben Affleck, colored up like this. But I'd also love to see Nightfall comic series, a Long Halloween style Batman, right? Like there's others from the comic books that need to be made that are this color scheme. So like, don't take our criticism of this one necessarily, Hot Toys, if you're listening, as we don't want this color scheme. It's really just the look of this particular figure. But we have a great audience, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. Definitely with regards to either positive takes, fiery takes, or somewhere in between. When we look at the poll here, we had 47 votes. 19% still loved it. So like 19% of us, which is a decent chunk really when you think about it, still loved this figure. 35% hated it. Fair. It's less of a number than I thought. And 47% of the audience here is neutral, just happy for others. Which, you know what? I like that. Because to me, that just shows that as a community of collectors, I don't have to love it because I don't have to buy it. It doesn't have to come to my display. If Valkyrie wants to highlight this thing in a month from now, hell yeah, when you get it, great. Show it off, dude. Show it off. Don't be ashamed, right? Like, show it off to people, because that's the other piece of it, like Luis mentioned, is that collecting is a weird game sometimes. Just because I don't want it today might not mean that I don't want it still for some reason in 3 years from now, when I've decided to convert my whole display to just Batman figures. And I'm like, God damn it, now I need that blue Batman that happened all those years ago that we tore apart, because now I need it in the display for whatever reason, right? Collecting is a weird journey that way. But if you guys are watching live or watching on the replay, let us know in the comments. Was this a win? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Were you just happy for others? Where did this blue Batman fall for you guys? Let's continue to move on, though, because God Loki was finally here and released from Hot Toys this week. And this was one that I was actually pretty excited for when it was first announced, because they announced this figure at the time relatively closely to the end of Loki Season 2. And I really enjoyed Loki Season 2. I enjoyed Loki Season 1. It was one of my I'd say favorite Marvel television spin-off series that they've made so far. Overall, it made me like the character of Loki more. Now, I mean, there is still something to be said for, Loki just being a villain and kind of a dick in the Marvel universe. Something to be said for that. But that representation of Loki died before our eyes. This Loki was truly a variant. So him going in and having a bit of a different hero journey, I think for me was still okay. I didn't need him to stay evil in order for him to still be impactful, because I still liked where his character arc went in the show. And I am a sucker for time travel. I'm a sucker for multiverse. I'm a sucker for those things. And so the TVA and all of that, was encompassed, at least in the Loki series, stuck out to me. Now, I ended up picking up the TVA Loki, just in his TVA outfit. In my opinion, that was one of the better head sculpts for Tom Hiddleston. Shout out to Instagrammer here. Let me see what it was here. Oh my gosh, I can't read it now. 6 Scale Treasures. Shout out to 6 Scale Treasures. Follow him on Instagram. He does some really wonderful comparison shots pretty much the day that the figures are teased. So if you're interested in looking at great comparisons on Instagram, go and follow this gentleman there. But he posted up a couple of these because one of the questions that I'd posed for myself and for the panelists was, they're a downgrade from prototype to final, because the prototype was pretty amazing to look at. And then, is the artisan still feeling worth it to you guys versus the sculpted, or has this changed your judgment of artisan as well? Because again, that's been a big piece. As you can see, Tom Hiddleston's likeness in figure format has come a long freaking way. And I still think that this God Loki might actually be the best representation of the actor. But I passed on this figure because I definitely didn't need another artisan in my life. I didn't need another Loki necessarily. I really like my TVA Loki and his like suit that he wears. And it's been so long since the series ended already that I'm kind of just over it at this point. I'm just ready to move on. The Kang kind of storyline is dead. I'm just ready to move on. So I didn't need the figure, but he did turn out really well in my opinion. So I was curious what the panelists had to say about, again, what do you think about artisan, Adam, versus sculpted? What do you think about the likeness? Is it better or worse than the prototype? Maybe the same? And was this one that you needed for your display? Where'd you land?
Like you, I have the TVA Loki, and I really love that figure. I had this. I actually bought it the day it came out, but I a couple hours later I canceled the order because I wasn't, as much as I love the Loki series. I wanted to wait until Doomsday to see, is he going to still be in this outfit? And what's the next Loki figure that's going to come out? Because I'm not sure I need more than one Loki, and if I get a second Loki, is it this, or if they do a 2.0 or 3.0 of the Avengers Loki, which to me is as much of an iconic look as this. So I'm gonna wait and see. I in terms of the artisan versus sculpted, I think if you can save a few bucks, get these sculpted, because in many cases it looks as good, if not better, than the artisan. Now I have the artisan Black Widow, and I think that's a phenomenal figure, one of the best figures of the year so far. On the other hand, I did, when I got a choice between getting the Attack of the Clones Obi-Wan sculpted versus artisan, I ended up getting the artisan. So I don't know. I think it's a case by case. Listen, the artisan is definitely a marketing hook that after is a response to InArt and their figures, and it was a way for Hot Toys to increase their revenue and to show they're being competitive against InArt. But there's been some somewhat fails, in terms of, we've seen some of the glue issues that some people have had. Now I have 2 artisan figures. I have the artisan Anakin, and I have the Black Widow, and I haven't had any issues with either of those figures. And I think they're both very good figures.
Beautiful figures.
Yeah, I think generally, I'm about saving a few bucks. So if you can save a few bucks by going sculpted, yeah, go sculpted.
For sure. I like the sculpted a lot, if I'm honest. And actually the sculpting, even on the TVA Loki, for me was one of my favorite hair sculptings that I have in my display to this date. It's still really good. So they keep fine-tuning that sculpted hair constantly. One of the biggest criticisms I've always had, guys, about artisan was it was just kind of like the premium hairstyle line. Whereas I think when artisan was originally at its inception, I thought it would be a more premium line overall. I expected to see better materials. I expected to see hair, some of those extras, kind of like DX once was over a standard release, right? Just like that little bit extra. But that's not what it was. Artisan really has just become the hairstyle line, in part, in a lot of ways, I think, to the competition that's out there, like InArt, but also just to give people, a chance to have what looks like more realism, except that sometimes I actually think that the artisan hair can take away from the realism a little bit, especially when you see it without, the crown on it, for example, in terms of this Loki. I think it looks weird. It doesn't look quite right. Whereas characters like maybe Jack Sparrow or that Artisan Black Widow, those look really, really good with the hair. So it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, and maybe it depends on, is it your favorite character or not? Are you wanting to pay that a little extra? I like your advice to save it a bit of that money, Adam, because I think that makes sense. But I know you weren't a huge fan, I think, Dave, on the Marvel television show spin-offs, but what was your thoughts here on the Loki figure? Was this one that tickled you at all?
Oh no, I love the shows.
Did you? I couldn't remember.
Oh yeah, I absolutely love the shows.
Okay.
Obviously, they could have done better with some of them. I think we can all agree that Secret Invasion was, wow, that was something that happened.
Favorite ones.
Yeah. And
she's just gone now. Like what?
Dude,
what's her name's character?
Yeah,
she's just, gone.
But I'm a She-Hulk apologist, okay, and I can't get behind Secret Wars. All right, I Secret Invasion. I can't get behind it. So yeah, there's. Oh, but Loki is, as far as I'm concerned, one of the best shows. Loki is so good. I love the hell out of that show. I wish they would make a Victor Timely figure. Won't ever happen. But
especially with them turning into noodles at one point, like you could have.
Gosh, yeah,
that was hard to watch.
Your Timely noodles. That needs to be a brand. Oh, that'd be great.
100%.
But it's kind of like when you see the meme of Spider-Man with Uncle Ben's rice,
Yeah.
But
Timely noodles.
I think I got the TVA Loki, and it's the only Loki that I have, and I love it. He's such a good figure. He's such a good figure for being a guy in a suit. He's so great.
So good.
And this figure, as far as the artisan aspect goes, yeah, all it is hair. And I think it's case by case, like Adam was saying, for everybody, for every figure. Because some figures, I got the artisan Wanda, and because I want her to be able to move her head without having that weird floaty hair in the back. I hate that. Mm-hmm. And Wanda's one of my favorite characters, so of course I want to have her look as good as I can, and that figure came out great for me, which I'm glad for, because some people it didn't. But Jack Sparrow also, I think he had a lower barrier to entry, only because you got the bandana, so there's no hairline to worry about and all that. Sure. But that cloth bandana is so much nicer to look at than the sculpted one. But also, a lot of people do say, it's just very true, there are some figures that just don't need to be rooted. And this figure, I think, from the beginning, I was into the sculpted. I think the sculpted hair looks great on this, from the production to the prototype, all of them. I think the rooted hair doesn't look as good. Add to that the fact that you've got to still remove that back panel on his head to get to his eyes. I don't want to fuck with that. I don't want to mess with that at all. That's just asking for trouble.
Totally.
So I'm in on the rooted, or I'm in on the sculpted.
Mm-hmm.
I am debating, though, because I did pre-order it. I am debating, is this maybe one that I can let go for now and maybe pick up later and spend a little less money on? I've been trying to be more, patient with figures, because you don't need them all right now.
Yep.
You don't need them all today. And 3 years from now, if I pick them up in 2 years, I'll still have them, just like I'll still have them in 3 years if I pick them up today. Totally. So, I have a lot of figures, half of my collection. If I had just waited and bought them all later on, I would have spent half as much money.
Yeah, you could get another 5 free figures out of it.
Yeah, it's exactly the same thing. But there are certain ones that you want to have, and this Loki here, what I love about this show, what I love about this figure is it helps to tie everything together. It ties the cartoons together. It ties the movies together with all of that. Because it wasn't until the Spider-Verse where we saw live action with cartoons and it all made sense. A lot of people have their collections were well, I don't want animated stuff. That's how I used to be. I don't want animated stuff. I want the stuff that looks real so they can interact with each other, Well, with the multiverse, that's not a problem anymore. And Loki really represents that. And I have a great plan for a display centering around this guy, because he is the dude's rug in the situation.
Mhm.
and he can make my whole collection make perfect sense as a whole. The animated stuff, the not animated stuff, the comic stuff, the film stuff. It's really nice to have that one anchor, and that's what he is, and I love him for that. So I'm definitely getting this figure. It's just a matter of, do I get him now or do I get him later?
Really well said. I also, recognize that there's two SKUs here, right? So whenever there's multiple SKU options, there's a chance that at least one will sit for a little bit longer than the others, which is good. Because I agree with you on that one, X-Men as well. Like, while I love my TVA Loki a lot, it's one of my favorite figures. Shockingly, like I bought that from Classy Thomas back in the day. I sold him my Tobey Maguire, and I got his classic Loki. So that's my little piece of Thomas that's in the display too. But shout out to him. But I love the figure, and one of the things that I thought about, even for collectors, if they didn't necessarily want this representation of Loki, was the head sculpt is so good. Like, I wonder if you could get this sculpt on even maybe the Avengers Loki figure, right? Like, upgrade other representations of Loki in your display down the line, if you could get it parted out, something along those lines. But no, well said, dude. Well said. Lots of food to think on there. What about you, Valkyrie? Did Dave give you anything to think about with regards to this figure? Was this one you pulled the trigger on right away, or are you holding off? Where'd you land?
When this I love the series. Me and my wife love the show. Actually, I was going to say one of our favorite scenes in the show was when Loki was on a Boeing 727 in Seattle at the airport.
Oh,
so
yeah.
me being an aviation guy, but
Yep.
I think we just loved it so much that when this popped up for pre-order for the artisan hair, I bought it right away. Now I'm starting to kind of like, did I really need it? Because we haven't seen that movie in a while, or that show in a while, and like the feeling of how great that show is has sort of left us. But
yeah.
I think I still want to get this because I thought that was still a great story. The arc of where he came from, where he went, and now becoming more responsible and sort of like being a caretaker of the multiverse. I think that's an awesome thing. Now, do I still think that maybe I should have just gotten this sculpted? I still kind of think that, but you know what? At this point, let's go with it. Let's get the artist in here, and I'll be happy to have it in my collection and display it in my shelf.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. And it's interesting, sometimes that buyer's remorse that I hear you kind of referencing there is there for me with figures too, right? It's like, I loved it at the time. That's that recency bias that gets us in the feels with collecting. But then, yeah, a year later, all this other cool stuff is coming. Figures that we didn't think Hot Toys would ever make again is sucking our wallets dry, right? Like, the vision for your collection might be changing. Like, there's so many things that can factor into do I still need it conversation, even if it's so good, even if it's an artistic piece, right? I mean, these are artistic representations of our favorite characters. Hard stop. They are just in general. Maybe not that blue Batman for Dave, but close enough. You know what I mean? But at the same time, again, it's sometimes just because it looks amazing even isn't a good enough reason to bring it in, let alone your love for the character or the show. Now, Luis, I'd be curious from you, buddy, like, how do you respond to the folks out there who said, they would have liked to see Loki's character arc stay evil versus his kind of hero journey that he went on through this show? And was this a figure that ended up, kind of hitting you for your collection, or was it a skip on your side?
Yeah, great questions. I liked the Loki we know is dead, unfortunately, but the anti-hero villain arc, I feel that his story really paved the way to what we can expect, hopefully, with Doomsday. I think if we see Loki being this timekeeper just going completely crazy in the next phase, then I could see a lot of people kind of kicking themselves for maybe not getting this right. But then it's Marvel, and they could easily change up a little bit of his costume and merchandise another figure, and then this could make this figure, that much cheaper, right? That's kind of where I stand. The problem with Marvel to me now is, do I get this next figure only to know that they're going to make another movie with a better suit, right? Do I love the character that much to where I can do multiple variants like I do with, the Nolan verse or with Iron Man? To me, this figure hopefully is kind of that god of mischief all in one, despite the Avengers version being more iconic. This to me just kind of says that god Loki, right?
That OP representation.
Exactly.
Right?
And we didn't even get to see him. We kind of saw him, almost get to the peak, and hopefully now we see him peak. So that's kind of where this is just maybe a taste of what's to come. And if so, like, I'm glad that I do have it on order. I did pick up the Artisan. In my experience, and I've sold some Artisan, recently sold a Joker Artisan, which I never thought that I would, considering he's such a great character. But I sold the Purple Suit Artisan for the J&D, and it was still a good profit. And I think people love the fact that Artisan, not so much just the hair, but that's really the biggest thing. It's the limited editionness of it. And I think that's what collectors and me in particular, and I've said it time and again, I love these works of art, but I also love that they're so limited. I feel that a collectible has to be very limited, which warrants the price, which warrants the love of, I may not get a shot of this character or this representation, this medium ever again, that I'm willing to pay for that. So if I ever have the option of sculpted versus artisan, if it's a character that I like enough to warrant an extra $150, I'm going to go for it. Not just because of the hair, but it's how limited it is. So that plays a factor for me. So yeah, I have the artisan on order. It's been pushed back so many times. I think I have one less payment left, thankfully. I think, you can manipulate the hair a little bit. I think with the picks, a lot of the hair is behind the ear. If you kind of ruffle it in front, it could help the likeness a little bit more. But it is not a huge difference between sculpted. So the sculpted, they did a great job. It's just a matter of preference, right? I'm going to prefer a more matte finish with hair as opposed to the little shiny sculpt would bring. But again, to some people, that may not be worth an extra $150. But if I see it, artisan should be the top tier for said character. And if I'm going to be in love with a character or like them enough to pay top tier, then I'm going to go for the artisan versus the sculpted, and then think, oh, I can save that money, put it towards another character, right? Another sculpted version. So that's just kind of what I do when I collect. Again, it's quality over quantity. And Loki is one of the big pillars in the MCU for me, and obviously for many. And I think that this artisan, I like it. A little bit of a downgrade, but as a character, I needed it, and yeah, so I'm happy with him. A little bit of a downgrade, but it's not much. Not enough to cancel for me.
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, really minor in my opinion. Actually, they pretty much nailed it. Yeah, I really see it. And again, seeing the evolution of all of the different Loki figures, it's definitely come a really long way. So well said there, dude. And you mentioned the one piece about artisan being, limited, which is a buying choice for you as well. And I think that was actually a really good add-on to what I was saying about artisan earlier, because while I see it as a kind of the hairline line, a lot of people do see it more as the limited nature of it, right? Only a few 100 collectors out there in the world will have this representation of this character. And so if it's your favorite, I can see why that would be that much more appealing. And I think that there are characters that I would still really love to see in artisan, like Thor, or a bunch of them, so many different ones, right? So well said. But guys, let us know in the chat or on the replay, if you guys are watching, what do you think about artisan versus sculpted now that we've seen lots of artisans starting to finally come to fruition? And what was your take on Loki? Was this one that you wanted to put in your basket? If you so, which one did you end up choosing? Or for you, what is your definitive Loki? Again, if you are watching live or on the replay. Now, if my panelists don't mind, take a look at the private chat for me for the next couple sections. Definitely get your opinion there as well. But let's move on to this last one from the Hot Toy side, because then we're going to move over to InArt and JAZZINC as well. So again, thanks to everybody watching here, getting live and getting nuts with us on Sundays. Definitely appreciate you. We got 69 people in the chat right now. You love to see it there. And the likes went up. So guys, thank you for hitting that button as well there. Right in front of us, we've got the, of course, Batman versus Superman armored up look from Hot Toys. Now this is, I think, technically a 3.0 if I'm not mistaken. I think this is the third time they've done this, because they had the original 1.0. Then they did the black chrome version from my recollection. And then, of course, this one. Again, big shout out to 6 Scale Treasures, of course, who gave us some of these slides to be able to use today on Let's Get Nuts. Follow them on Instagram. Some of the things that they've changed here, of course, from the prototype, as you can see, to the final option, most notably is the expression of Ben Affleck in the cowl itself, right? It's got this big toothy kind of aggressive look to him, which I think looks way better in my opinion. Honestly, it looks really quite a lot like the screen shot itself from the actual film. Now, I think his face actually looked a little heavier, if I'm honest, in the film. Like, he looks like he's got a little bit more weight to his face, but I mean, he was a big and beefy dude in the film, and this figure is absolutely like no slouch. Like, this thing is crazy. Now the question will be, are they going to give us a 2.0 representation of this Superman to go along with it as well? Hot Toys gave us, or I should say InArt gave us a great BVS Superman, but if you're not an InArt collector, or you just simply missed it like I did, I waited too long and just missed it in general, I'd be curious, on my nostalgia level for the film anyways, whether I'd get myself a 2.0 Superman to go along if it ever came up. But for this figure specifically, I think all of the improvements are here. The expression is better in my opinion. The likeness to Ben Affleck in that cowl looks great. The paint applications on the armor look great. They've scaled them up just a little bit as well. I think overall, absolute win. Of course, the light up eyes are USB as well, and the USB kryptonite spear is also lightable again with USB. So definitely some improvements that were needed here. This feels like a pretty awesome 2.0 overall, and this is a figure for me, boys, that I felt like I really truly didn't need. And now that I've seen it come to fruition, I'm like, damn it, I kind of wish that I'd locked that win in, and I might have to chase it down at some point. But what do you think here, Adam, on this Batman and how it turned out?
This is actually in some ways the opposite how I feel about this, as opposed to our last figure, the Loki, which is, I ordered it, I canceled it right away. This figure I was looking at for a while, and I just didn't order. It went to waitlist, and I really regret not being able to get this, because now I'm going to have to use alternate means to track this down. I think this is one of the instances where the prototype versus the release version. The release version is a major improvement, or I don't say major, but a decent improvement over the previous. I think in terms of like the head sculpt, the cracked helmet head sculpt is an improved with. If you look at the left there, the final version, I mean that seems to be more film accurate. The one on the right, it's not bad, the prototype, but it looks more like Affleck is going to Dunkin' to get a medium coffee. He's ordering his medium coffee from Dunkin', as opposed to the one on the left where he's doing the whole Martha routine.
Yeah.
I think major plus to have USB powered, so you're not dealing with the junky batteries. Both the eyes are USB powered, and the kryptonite spear. That's a plus.
Huge.
And I think this looks good whether you have a Snyderverse display or just a Batman display like I have. I think this would fit in nicely. The 2.0 Batman versus Superman that came out earlier this year, like that's on my list as one of the best figures this year. This might be a better figure, and I think that says a lot. I think this is a really die-cast, that's always a nice thing to have that solid die-cast figure like an Iron Man. Man, I really want this figure. I think this is a home run.
100%. You made me think of something actually, Adam, too, because like I told you guys earlier, I've got the Adam West Batman coming. I've got even the George Clooney Batman coming. I've got the Arkham City Batman, which isn't a film, but like, again, a favorite representation of Batman out there. So basically, I'm going to have every representation of Batman that's existed. The only figure that I don't have right now, like a character of, is Ben Affleck, because I had the Nightmare Batman, but I had the Nightmare Batman Superman 2-pack, and I recently sold that in order to make some space, because I wanted to get potentially the 2.0 Affleck Batman that popped up, that recent one. But then this also has my attention. I only need one Ben Affleck Batman. I only need one. So guys, there's like over 80 people with me live right now. Tell me in the chat if you can, which Batman should I go for a display? Because I love both options. Armored Batman or the BVS 2.0, standard suit. Look, if you had one representation of the Affleck Batman in your display, what's the goated option? Let me know, and I might chase that down based on what you guys think. But yeah, great thoughts there, Mr. Adam. Luis, what about you, buddy? What did you think about this figure that popped up for this?
I think they did a great job. I loved, Batman versus Superman. I think obviously the Snyder cut was better. I skipped knowing it was just going to be an onslaught of figures. I skipped the armored Batman. So, never really had FOMO. Seeing this, as much as I think it looks great, I appreciate it. I think it's just a matter of time before possibly InArt does it. And obviously Hot Toys is just trying to come out with it first. So they'll definitely do Henry Cavill 2.0 for Hot Toys. Again, it's just a matter of time. But I think if you are obviously a huge Batman fan, just kind of comes back to having maybe an armory type display. But if you can only pick one Batfleck, I would go with just the classic gray suit, right? I mean, as amazing as this looks, it doesn't encapsulate Batfleck to me like the gray suit does. So maybe put it like that, right? If I can only pick one variant of Batfleck, would this be it, or the classic gray suit? As much as this suit was a great scene, and the execution was awesome by Hot Toys, I think the gray suit is just that much more of an iconic, newer suit versus this. But they did well, as good as they can, given their most recent tech. They knocked it out of the park. But again, InArt's just probably going to do the same thing. Maybe just much longer. But if they do it, we can expect it to be a little bit more of a higher level.
I'll be well into my 40s by the time this comes out.
Yes.
From InArt, but maybe worth the wait if I can live that long. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. 1/6 scale man in the chat with us, Mr. Leal. You love to see it. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Of course, as always. But he says here, I put this on the Black Friday X-Men Supreme Platinum card with 0 interest fees. I didn't realize that was an option, Dave. I would have just got this figure as well then. You'll love to see it. Collection Obsession has a great point here too. It says, which fight scene did you like best between Batman and Superman? That is the suit you should choose. God, I'm gonna have to do some food for thinking on that one, because I think when he's just even in a standard outfit, just in a standard Batman outfit, the way he can move and this physical presence in that is insane. But also, like, the armored up, look is really appealing to me, especially because of my love, again, for the Dark Knight Returns comic series, right? Or comic book. So, oh man, I don't know. I don't know if that helped.
I mean, that crate suit alone, right? The crate seat,
right?
Yeah,
yes.
I think between those two fights, that was epic.
100%. Where'd you land on this one, Dave? When it came to this Batman, where'd you end up landing?
I think this is a great suit, and it harkens back to the Dark Knight Returns storyline. That's exactly where it came from. It's a great scene. I think it's a greater scene in the comic, but of course that's how it usually goes. But if I'm gonna get one, and I already got it, it's gonna be the main suit, the 2.0 of that, because it's not like if you're looking at this one iteration of Batman and you want, a quote definitive version of that iteration of Batman, it's got to be the standard suit because that's just the bat suit. This
Kinda where it
isn't
lands for
really
me
what
too,
he
yeah.
usually wears, but it's still sick as hell. And you certainly would be doing your collection well to have either, I think.
Yep. This is over 7 pounds in the shipper box when you receive it. When you hold that
Oof.
shipper box, it's over 7 pounds,
That's crazy.
which is insane. Like that's got some weight and heft to it for sure. Valkyrie, I'm going to get you on the next topic here, my friend, as well. Okay. But in terms of Batman here, guys, again, if you're watching on the replay or live, let us know what your thoughts here were on this figure, how they changed it. Do you think Hot Toys should give permission or get permission from collectors in any way when they change a mouth plate so dramatically as well? I think it was for the best when you take a look at, what it was versus what it's become. I think it's for the best. But at the same time, some people did buy the figure on the right-hand side with that in mind. And it's a pretty significant change considering. Should they get more input from collectors, or do they just say, nope, screw it, we're going to do what's best for us? Something to kind of ramble around in your brains as well. But lastly, if you're watching, again, especially today, live or replay, which suit do you think I should get? If I was only going to have one Ben Affleck Batman in my display, what look is the best representation? I would love to hear from you guys in the comments. Let's move over to our friends over in InArt, of course. And I say friends, but they don't talk to me. But at the same time, man, are their figures speaking to me. Holy crap. I mean, honestly, at first when InArt hit the scene from Queen Studios, kind of an offshoot of Queen Studios, I think the biggest debate was, are they actually going to be able to give us what they solicit to us, right? And I would say from every figure that I've received from InArt so far, knock on wood anyways, I have not been disappointed with any of them, with the exception, very small exception. I love my Paul Atreides. Don't get me wrong. Freaking love that figure. But he does have one leg that's longer than the other leg. It's the weirdest thing ever. I have shifted his hips. I have changed his leg positions. I've done everything physically figure capable. He definitely has one longer leg than the other. It's the weirdest thing ever. Other than that, amazing likenesses. And this is no slouch. In fact, I got to shout out my buddy, of course, 16fix, Marco. In our show sheet chat over at Collecting Weekly, because I think it was him that said they somehow even captured the smell of Daryl in this figure. Like, guy is like greasy and grimy, and the likeness is like insane. Insane. And so while the love for Walking Dead for me has diminished over the years, and I feel like I really didn't need it. This goes back to what we were talking about, a week ago when we said, is a figure that's so artistically amazing worth buying, even if you don't feel like you need the character in your display or the representation of the show? When it's this much mastery on showcase with their art, is it still worth collecting? And that's the question I'm going to pose to the people in the chat here and in the panel today for Daryl Dixon. Because again, I loved Walking Dead. I absolutely loved it. Once Negan killed Glenn, I stopped watching the show almost entirely. So I don't really know what happened with Norman Reedus' character of Daryl. I don't know where he's ended up. I think he's got an offshoot show right now. So clearly, I think he must have still survived the main series. But I don't know if I need it. And of course, that Death Stranding 2 figure just came out not long ago from Hot Toys either. So if you really just like Norman Reedus, but you don't necessarily need Walking Dead in your display, that was another option as well to be able to collect. Also pretty amazing likeness. In fact, I thought that was one of Hot Toys' best likenesses of the year. And I still think that this likeness, at least at this stage, is better. So Adam, when it comes to you, buddy, when you are thinking, artistic representations of characters, maybe you don't need the show representation, but when something is so good, is it hard for you to still say no to it in terms of figures and buying, or does it still have to hit on that nostalgic button or that love for the show? Where does that land for you?
It absolutely has to hit on the nostalgic vibe for me. And what's hard for me is I get nostalgia about a lot of things because I like a lot of things. And so it's the challenge is when to say, Do I need this? I love it. I loved it. Still, maybe I still like it, but how much room do I have? How much money do I want to spend? This is actually a good example because I love certainly the first 7-8 seasons of Walking Dead. Up until Negan. I didn't like what Negan that whole arc with Negan killing and then spoiler alert for a couple-year-old show, but come on, people. You know. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, you don't care.
That's right.
Killing not just Glenn, but Abraham. Well, he does kill Glenn in the comics. He doesn't kill Abraham in that way. I think that whole Negan war, as much as I like Negan as a character and Jeffrey Dean Morgan, that whole storyline went on too long. And I'm one of these people who stayed at the Walking Dead party too long. In fact, I'm still there. I've watched the whole 11 seasons. I watched all the Fear the Walking Dead spinoff and all the spinoffs and the self-appointed Daryl Dixon show. That's what it's called. Walking Dead. Okay. Daryl Dixon. I've been watching that
Dixon
and
show. Very creative.
Not so good. But I'm still, we're still there. I don't know. It's just like force of habit. It's like my wife watches the Law and Order franchise, and if you ever seen Law and Order SVU, spoiler alert,
of course,
all the episodes are the same. They find the suspect. The first suspect's not the suspect. It's not the real person who did it. It's always the second person. But that's every episode's always the same. And Walking Dead's kind of like that. It's a formulaic. It's kind of gotten formulaic. And there's a place for that. In terms of not having, if something is just a beautiful looking figure, like to me, Jack Sparrow, Pirates of the Caribbean figure is an example of that. I liked the first film. It was enjoyable. I never had much of a nostalgia for the rest of the franchise. And, that the figures, both the original one and the one that came out last year, beautiful looking figures, but I never felt tempted to get it because I'm just not into that franchise. So to me, it's always the challenge is always, how much do I really like The Walking Dead, and do I want to go down the rabbit hole of getting those figures?
Right.
I'm kind of thinking about that now with if Hot Toys ever comes out with Stranger Things figures, I'd be tempted if they did to maybe pick up like a Vecna or an 11 or some of the other characters, the Demogorgon.
Same. And sorry, I was just pulling up a comparison shot for you there, Adam, as well. I had to reload the slides as a result. But of the Norman Reedus Hot Toys versus Norman Reedus InArt, because they're pretty wild. But I like what you said, at least with regards to that nostalgia, right? Like the show has to really do it for you in order to want to necessarily collect, because the artistic part of it, like I think that would bite us in the ass as collectors, if I'm honest, too often, right? Like I don't think you should just buy just because it looks amazing. But even here, like I really thought the Hot Toys representation on the right was easily one of the best sculpts of the year. Like both companies even really captured his like squinty eye look. You know what I mean? Like he's always kind of squinty, almost like he needs glasses, or that's part of his like, that's part of his appeal, like that dark and gloomy kind of guy. But like they nailed it on both sides, which I think is amazing. For some reason, it just looks like the sharpness is just dialed in a little bit more on the InArt one. Now, will it look just that good at the production side? Hard to say. What do you think, Luis, when it comes to Daryl Dixon here from InArt, anyways, or the Norman Reedus likeness as well in this figure?
They killed it, man. I am no stranger to InArt. They have elevated the 1/6 industry, thankfully, and it's showing with Hot Toys, but I was saying to some of my other buddies that this could be debatable, of course, their best likeness. I mean, this looks like shrunk Norman Reedus.
Yeah, as Collecting Weekly guys would say. Yeah.
It's insane. And the promo shots too, we typically argue some promo shots don't always look as good, but this is a line that I could get behind, possibly. I've sold a lot of figures, and Walking Dead thankfully is one of those like licenses or franchise that you could get by with having a Rick and a Negan and Daryl. Like that's it, and it's just a matter of picking your favorite look for them. And I think if I could pick up InArt level quality Rick season 1, this Daryl to me encapsulates just his character for the whole series. And then Negan, then that'd be like that's it. That's all I would need.
Yeah.
So I'm super tempted to get this, despite selling some more iconic characters and franchises that I love more than this. But I mean, they killed it. This figure looks great. I can smell the leather as we speak, and yeah, it's a great figure from a great character from a great TV series that at one point really kind of just destroyed every other show within that 2010 to maybe 2015, 16 or so. So yeah, it's something that I'm very heavily going against the grain and not ordering, especially since you can get it direct from InArt as opposed to, you know, some of these other retailers. So whoever gets it, it's a showpiece for sure.
Hell yeah. Well said. Very well said. Figure it out, says Norman has always just put out a blunt. That's why his eyes are like that. Just like how he wasn't Blade 2. He wasn't Blade 2? I don't remember that. Really? I gotta go back and watch that. I do not remember him in Blade 2.
Yeah, he was the new tech guy when he replaced Whistler.
How do I not remember that? That's crazy. I gotta go back and watch that film. That's been a while since I've seen that, but that's amazing. No, that's amazing. I mean, for me, Boondock Saints is obviously where my love for Norman came from. The first film, hated the second film, if I'm honest, but the first film was an absolute classic. But Dave, I'll go to you on the next couple here because I know you have some takes on Catwoman. Valkyrie, any final thoughts here on InArt? Or my question with regards to artistic representation, is there ever a time where you buy something just because the artistry of the figure is so amazing, even if you don't necessarily need the character?
I think I've done that before too. Sometimes it's from just because everyone says you have to get it as well. Like actually, for me, it was like Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow is a great character, but I necessarily wouldn't buy a an artisan figure of her. But that last one that came out was really good, and it was like I just got caught up with it and ended up buying it. And now I'm actually glad I bought it because it really is a fantastic item. But I think I remember at the time it was just because everyone was trying to get it, and I was like, oh, I better get it because everyone else is trying to get it. But it was one of those things where, like, okay, I did submit to FOMO, but I'm glad I bought it.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. And then what were your thoughts then on this InArt figure specifically? Any thoughts on InArt? Do you own any InArts yet?
I only have one, which is Superman.
Superman, nice.
And but then what happens is I actually have a friend. He imports InArt figures, and he got me to buy Corn Sweat Superman. Let me see here, Wonder Woman, and one other figure I can't remember offhand. But it's like when one of your old friends has a store that could import these, it's kind of hard to say no.
It's fair.
It's awesome.
That's fair. But you like this one, or were you kind of mid on this one?
I never got into Walking Dead. It was kind of weird because I was in a place where my daughter was active playing sports like 3 times a year, and I had no time at all to watch any TV at that time period. So I mean, I always said I want to watch this, but I never did. And now I'm like, maybe it's too late now, but I probably would be buying these figures if I did watch it.
Fair. Well said. I think for me, at the end of the day, to everybody watching live, anybody watching on replay, the artistry of this figure, there is no denying it. It's insane. But the question is for ourselves as collectors, are we ever just buying something because it looks amazing, but not necessarily because we still have that attachment to it? And if that's the case, that's still okay, because again, these are artistic pieces. I was in a paint art gallery yesterday, and people were looking at some of the most random duck paintings and shit on the walls that I've ever seen for like $3,000, and people were like, "Oh my god, that's the nicest duck painting I've ever seen." To me, it was just a bunch of ducks, but the artistry that went into it, there was no denying it. And for some folks out there, they absolutely loved it. This could be that duck for you, right? Maybe it's amazing. Maybe you don't care about the show. God damn, it's hard to not want to buy something so beautiful. Even though I wouldn't call Daryl specifically beautiful. It's the art piece. You guys know what I'm saying. Let me know what you guys think. High ass duck. You'll love to see it. You'll love to see it. Some news for the JAZZINC side. If you're a Batman fan, of course, the Batman Begins representation of the tumbler. This is just a rendering at this point. They haven't actually shown the vehicle specifically, but if you have collected JAZZINC vehicles in the past, I think you kind of know what you're signing up for now, for the most part, both in quality, price points, what you can expect in terms of QC potentially, as well as though customer communication, feedback, replacement parts, all of those things. I think for the most part, Yoast, being over at JAZZINC there, is one of the most responsive companies out there when it comes to especially QC or feedback. This is one area where I think JAZZINC definitely shines for sure on their vehicles, because while the Hot Toys representation of the tumbler was cool, I've seen it in person now a couple times. It is a lot of black plastic. It's very just black plastic, big chunk one, and it's a bit underscaled in comparison to what I would have expected from Hot Toys. And so, well, not necessarily, because Hot Toys tends to underscale their vehicles to a certain extent, but point is, it wasn't quite what I wanted it to be on the Hot Toys representation. I just don't know if I need to get into more vehicle collecting than I already have. I've got my Back to the Future Blitzway coming, hopefully any day now. That's got to be any freaking day now. I can't wait to play with the power windows and stuff. I don't know if I need this, even though I absolutely love the tumbler. It is one of my favorite Batman vehicles out there. I still think, though, the Batman 89 vehicle from JAZZINC was by far the standout piece. But in line with JAZZINC for the final figure of the day here, they have chosen Julie Newmar Catwoman as their next prototype that they are working on. Now, I think it goes without saying, again, JAZZINC, like I just said, has wonderful communication with their collectors. Lots of feedback they're willing to accept. Price points aren't always cheap by any stretch. Obviously, they make far less of their product than companies like Hot Toys. So that just means that the markup needs to be a little different. The cost needs to be a little different. I can appreciate that. There are aspects of their figures that I don't love fully yet. For example, the Catwoman that I've got coming from JAZZINC, it doesn't have the rolling eye system, but they give multiple sculpts depending on what look you want to give. So there's some play there, which I appreciate. The rooted hair looks pretty decent on both this prototype as well as the figures that we've seen so far. But I think the biggest thing that is kind of still sticking with me a little bit, riding a little heavy maybe on my chest, unlike InArt, what we just talked about, which was when we first saw InArt come into the scene with their figure line, we said, great, it's a Joker. We didn't necessarily want another Joker, but, well, maybe we did, but what if it's terrible? What if they mess it up? Blah, blah, blah. At least back then, InArt was an offshoot of Queen Studios. So if they totally messed it up, they could just be like, it's InArt's fault. We're shutting that company down. Sorry. Still just buy our Queen Studios statues anyways. JAZZINC isn't quite in the same position. We haven't really got much yet from them, right? We got their scavenger figure years ago, but that wasn't licensed and wasn't necessarily their best effort, I don't think, yet. Whereas I think what they've got coming to us is going to be wonderful. But because nobody's got their figures in hand yet, none of us can prove whether it's going to be worth the money or not. The only thing I can say to that is that it would shock me if JAZZINC beefs it with their figures. It would shock me. But mostly because I think that they're staking their reputation of their company on these figures as well, because they're not calling their figure line a different company name that they can bury if it doesn't go well. This is a JAZZINC product, and if this JAZZINC product does not go well, it will reflect poorly on their, like, all of their JAZZINC products. So I think that they have to nail it. But I can understand why people would say, I'm going to hold off on buying any more pre-orders from them, because that's all I'm buying from JAZZINC right now is pre-orders. So I'm going to hold off on buying more pre-orders until they prove it, until they actually give us a physical, tangible thing in hand that we can judge for ourselves to determine the quality on. This Julie Newmar, I think, objectively looks great. I think she's beautiful. The waist seems a little cinched from what I've seen from reference photos, but I mean, again, this is in the prototype stage. Still looks beautiful, still looks amazing. Doesn't look like it has a rolling eye system. I like the chair, I like the cat phone, I like some of those aspects of it, but I'm not a huge 66 Batman fan. While I told you guys earlier I want to get that Adam West Batman in my display to have the history of Batmans, that's about as far as it goes for me with regards to it. I don't think I'd buy anything else. And last but not least, Mars Toys has done a pretty good job so far of teasing their 66 like Batman lineups as well. So this price point might even be a deterrent depending on where it comes out at for this. So I'm very conflicted on this one. I want more of the experts to give their thoughts on it. Adam, was the Catwoman or the 66 Batman, like, was that something of your generation that you enjoyed? Was it something that you avoided? Like, where does that line stick for you? And what are your overall thoughts on JAZZINC, really just as a, kind of becoming a figure company as well as a vehicle company?
In terms of a figure, I think this looks excellent. And if you're a 66 fan, I definitely could see, ordering this. I grew up, there was the reruns of the 66 Batman, and I watched it. I kind of had a love-hate relationship with this show. When I was little, I did watch the reruns because that was the only live-action Batman that there was. But as I started to read the comics, and certainly Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns and Batman Year One, and some of the other comics that was started to take place in the mid and late 1980s, in the lead up to Tim Burton's Batman '89, I tried to convince my friends, my folks, other people that, Batman's serious. He's the Dark Knight. Before there was the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight,
Sure,
he was the Dark Knight detective. And anytime I tried to tell people this, their response would be nah, 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 nah. And it would drive me absolutely effing crazy. So I really grew to hate Adam West Batman, and the bam, pow, biff, pop. I fucking hated it because it kind of, the whole world I felt was making fun of a legitimate, serious art form in comic books. Now that that's a number of years ago, and perhaps you could say that Batman in comic books has gone a little bit too far in the dark of things, and a little overboard on the dark side.
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Absolutely. So I'm actually kind of now swung a little bit more towards the middle, in that I have been looking for a 66 Batman because I have I have a whole bunch of Nolanverse figures, and I have Affleck, and I have Keaton, and I have the Batman from the 2022 film. So I would like to have, as terms of like the history of Batman, an Adam West figure. But once I have that, and maybe the Burt Ward Robin, I'm good. I don't need Cesar Romero. I don't need as beautiful as the Mars Inc. one looks, and I don't need these figures. But I know some people I know will love. Maybe they grew up with that, and that's their Batman, or they still have fond memories of watching the reruns. So I think this is a home run figure if you're into it.
Yeah, definitely. Test Jess says, how many companies will make Julie Newmar Catwoman? It looks good from pics, but don't think he's making the chair. If he's not making the chair, that's I hate that. I hate when they add things in if that's not going to be part of it. But I haven't heard him talk on this yet, so I hate to see it. And Mars Toys may make this. I know that they had teased one at one point. Ryan Dean says, I like Yost and JAZZINC, but I really wish they'd release at least the final version of their other Catwoman first. Really curious what the production finals will look like. And then Winman42 gives some extra detail here as well. Says, Yost did say yesterday that Julie has to sign off on this, as well as Warner Brothers. So it's not a done deal, but I like it so far. I'm also waiting for a final figure from the first, right? Again, it's kind of that wait and see feeling it feels like right now. X-Men, you said you had some thoughts here on Catwoman, and maybe Yost and JAZZINC as well. Again, love Yost. Great dude. Chatted with him once or twice. He participates with our collecting weekly awards. He's a good dude. But we haven't got a figure from him yet. Not a licensed one, anyways. What are you thinking?
I have purchased 3 of his Batmobiles. I have the Batwing, the big one, and I have the Bat Signal, and they're all friggin' great. I absolutely love them. I know that they haven't done a proper figure outside of that one, unlicensed Vulture that they did way back when. But those of us who have been following JAZZINC, we know how Yost is with the details. We know that they care about their product, and that's enough for me. I ordered the big box on the Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman. I want both versions, and let me give you some good news. While they did initially not plan on making rolling eyes, they did later decide that they were going to add that as a feature. So those sculpts will have rolling eyes.
That's good news.
So you are good to go there, sir. And as far as this one goes, I have wanted a Julie Newmar Catwoman for as long as I've been collecting 6 scale, I think. At least as long as I've had the Batman and Robin. She is my favorite Catwoman. She is the best Catwoman as far as I'm concerned. I love her. I love her so much. And admittedly, I think this could use some tweaking. She did have the crazy figure going on, but I think this waist is just a little too dangerous. Might need a little bit, because she had a little bit more of a curve than a shelf going on there. Sure. So I think they could fill her out just a little bit more. I do kind of wish they had gone with the more season 1 look for her. She had the longer hair, and her face was filled out a bit more. And even later on in her later episodes, she did have the hair shorter like this, and the cheekbones were always there. That woman has the best cheekbones. My God.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some figure comparison shots right now.
Yeah. But I mean, something about the face on this one, and I've commented on it on their Facebook, she does feel a bit older than she was in the series there. Like when she smiled, those cheekbones were prominent. But I think it might be something about the lines going down from them, or maybe the thinness of the chin. I don't know what it is exactly. It's hard to put my finger on it. It looks like her, but it looks a little off somehow that I can't quite place. But she definitely she does look the part overall, though. I'm definitely going to be getting her. As far as the chair goes, I believe they were initially planning on doing the chair, but after she made it, it was incredibly intricate to be accurate to what was in the show. And what ended up happening was, I think they're still trying to figure it out. Yost has mentioned it a couple of times now where they're not sure if they're going to be able to make the chair in mass production because of the intricacy of it.
Gotcha.
They already had it anyway, so I guess they put it up there. And maybe they've decided that they're going to try it. I don't know. He hasn't really said too much on it since then that I've heard. Maybe I missed something. I'm not sure. I hope they make it because it's a sick looking chair, but I get it if they don't, because, molds and all of that. There's a lot of small holes and details that you want to have, But I do hope they make the chair, because that's a really good looking chair. And it would be very nice to have. Really cool, but I mean, at the end of the day,
did he say whether the mask would be removed? Did he say whether the mask would be removable or not?
I don't remember anything about the mask being removable.
Because there's a lot of shots of her from the show where she doesn't wear the mask, which I think is also
she did have it off
so
quite a bit.
Permanently fixed, then that'd be interesting. Yeah, when she's not robbing people, or cat burglar.
Yeah. And honestly, with this one, I'm okay either way. I'm just happy to have a Julie Newmar Catwoman. I don't know if I would get a Mars one over this one. We still haven't seen their Penguin yet, and that's been a couple of years in coming.
I feel like I don't know. I wonder if by JAZZINC having the license to Warner Bros. And Batman and 66 Batman, if that's been any challenge for them, like, you know, with Mars being on the scene for that, because like Mars Toys still just gave us a different figure like a week ago or something. It wasn't that long ago, and they gave us the like the Harvey Two-Face and everything, you know, a while back as well. But like the 66 line has gone dormant. Like they haven't really given us any news, because like they'd shown that Penguin, man, that has to be like, I want to say at least a year ago at this point, at least a year ago.
It's been a while, yeah.
And that's just dormant, super dormant, right? So yeah, what's going on?
And they did their Riddler 2-pack, which is very good. I haven't gotten it, and I'm debating still, like, do I want to have 2 Riddlers? I kind of do, but also like I'm not going to use both of them at the same time. But like I'm still debating getting that because it looks really nice, and that Joker was amazing. And the Batman and Robin that was Saturn Toys.
Yeah.
I mean, let me make sure you.
The other planet.
Yeah, they those are great figures too. Like I've been wanting to. Yeah. I've been looking at the Hot Toys Batman and Robin, and then they announced this. I'm like, well, it's the exact same thing. They it's like they copied the exact thing, the homework completely. And like there's a couple of minor details that are different, but not enough that makes them any really lesser to me. So I got them, and they look great in that Batmobile. They really do. They're fantastic.
Absolutely. JB Joker says Mars showed an update Penguin sculpt a couple months ago. God, was that already months
ago?
Did they?
Where are you? I have not seen
it was a year ago. I honestly thought that, but fair. I'll figure it out. Says, where's my Willy Wonka, damn it? Yeah, no doubt. That one has been one people have been really waiting on for a long time, too. So, Luis, I know you said you're good on this one. Valkyrie, did you have any thoughts here on Catwoman to wrap us up?
I did watch the show. I did like it a lot, but it's not that important to me, though. I would say it's like something from my childhood, but I'm more of a modern Batman kind of guy now.
That's totally fair. Guys, what a great show today. We have still 80 people with us at the end of the show here. Thank you guys to everybody who came in today, wanted to get nuts with us on a Sunday. We should be back next week, as is tradition, assuming that there is some actual figure news that comes up again this week. I'm sure there will be, because it's, you know, a countdown of weeks now until the end of the year, and there was still a lot that was slated for Q4 that has not been revealed yet, right? I'm expecting we'll see that Chewbacca at the very least, hopefully this week. But I'm sure there's a couple more that are, you know, in the pipeline about to be sent out for everybody. So stay tuned. We should be back next Sunday to get nuts on Let's Get Nuts live show as well. And of course, if you're here and you're joining us, you're already watching the Ben Thomas show proper. But if you guys can hit the like button on the way out the door today, that would be really appreciated. Or subscribe if you're just new to the show. If you're enjoying the show, you know, we've got the shorts, we've got the videos, the longer form videos, and then of course the live streams every week. So lots of fun to get you know, to have with you guys here. But before I go to my panelists to wrap us out for the day, I want to say a quick thank you to our channel members, the Classy Nut crew, being of course Elvin J, Honest Hansel, Money Mendez, Harry Dempsey, Big Rip, as Dean would say, 1-6-figure focus, Vita, aka her geeky side, King Dingaling, Jose G Hernandez, The Real Tex Conway, Collection Obsession, The Movie Canon, Figurecraft, Don Maton, Alex Serrato, Pop Culture Relics, Daniel S.C., Ryan Smith, Collector Joey, Sam Gist, Rachel Miller, Mike and Callie, Figure in a Bubble, Doug Guito, Blurred Dad Life, Alex Serrato, Safira, Cosplay, Aaron Broverman, Monroe, Corbiel, and L. Walker. And then a big extra nutty shout out to our Nut Kings, being SpongeBob SquareBalls, missed that guy, as well as Field to Burn, also missed that guy, Collecting Weekly, The Batman 12-inch Moose Stream, X-Men Supreme, Peter Cass, Valkyrie Magnus, Ronnie, 1 Adam 12th, Sith Scale Collector, OG fan when Star Wars was just Star Wars, Manny Fresh 369, Trevor Weed, and Tijuana Mike, aka King Churro. Guys, thank you so much for being channel members. It really helps the show, really helps me upgrade some technology. Hopefully you guys have noticed, maybe not. This week I've got new lighting, a new web camera, as well as a different mic this last month. So trying to continually upgrade to make your viewing experience that much crispier and better. I still need, I think, one more light in here, but we'll see how it goes. I'm not a photographer, so I'm not good at this shit yet. It's a lot of work. But I love you guys. Thanks for watching. To my panelists here, my co-host, 1 Adam 12th. Anything coming up for you, good sir, that you're excited for to share with the masses?
Yeah, I am looking forward to one of the shows I've been watching is Welcome to Derry. So that's new episodes tonight.
Me too.
I'm looking forward to
Tonight,
that.
yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed the first part of Stranger Things season 5. So if you're into Stranger Things, I think you'll enjoy it. No spoilers from me. You'll enjoy it. And look forward to not only being back here next Sunday to get nuts, but I'll be, I think, probably with some of these guys as well on Friday night on the Movie Cannons show with Geo, Figure Talk. So looking forward to, hope everyone has a great week.
Shout out to Geo. Shout out to you, buddy. Thank you for being here as always. Very, very reliable. All of the guys here are very reliable, which I really appreciate. And, you know, at this point, you know, I've joked a little bit about it, but X-Men, you're becoming kind of a pretty mainstay on the show as well. So really appreciate you being here as always, buddy. Anything coming up for you this week that you're excited about?
Yeah, man. I sent a picture of it in the Facebook chat for you to pull up the flyer there that Jose made. I'm probably gonna be jumping in on the stream tomorrow night with Beam and the boys. I tend to jump in there when I can.
Nice.
I'll be there on Friday with Geo and them, finishing up that tier list. Saturday, we'll be in the Shark Tank with with of all people, with a sword. That's I'm a little nervous about that.
Thank God it's not a posing competition. But... Dude,
for real, like the man is talented. The man is talented, and I have no doubt that he is going to just destroy me. But I'm making a good presentation. It's already done. It's made up. I've got it almost timed out. It's going to be very exciting for those of you who know, you know. But love the little mock-up here. Love the suit. Kind of want one now. But But yeah, man, I'll be doing all that. And as always, it's great to see all of you guys. It's every single one of y'all always have something interesting to bring to the party, and it's always fun. I love the hell out of it. So it's always great to be here. It's just great to be part of the group, man.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Well, always welcome here, man. Thank you for being here. Yeah, definitely shout out to Jose Plus running the show through the 16 Fix YouTube channel. From my recollection, make sure I'm not messed up on that. That's correct still. Is that right? X-Men, it's still going to be on 16 Fix.
Yeah.
Jose's hosting. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. He's got me posed up right now against Vita, aka her geeky side, when it comes to it. So I'm very, very excited for that challenge. But we'll be sharing more posters as we progressively get closer to those events. So stay tuned because they are very, very fun events, guys. So yeah, don't miss those. But yeah, dude, thanks for being here and for shouting that out as well. Mr. Valkyrie Magnus, again, to you, buddy, thanks for always being here. And thanks for being so apologetic when you can't be here. You never have to apologize. You guys have lives as well. But I love when you guys can make it. Anything coming up for you you're excited about, buddy, that you wanted to share?
I mean, not too much. I'm having some fun with taking pictures. You get a chance to look at my Instagram. I make some fun pictures once in a while. I actually did this one that was kind of funny where I have like old man Luke putting his hand on young Luke, and the caption was Obi-Wan Kenobi training young Luke, and some people were like, "What?" Which is fun. And you can also, catch me on Geo's show Friday nights, which is always fun, and I hope to stream on your channel again soon.
Always. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. We'll keep an eye out for those as well. And yeah, anytime you can share a funny photo with us, dude, feel free to throw it in the Let's Get Nuts group and I'll pop it up if we have time, especially on the slow news weeks. We got to enjoy each other's collections, I think, a little bit more. That's one element of this show I think I'd like to bring in a little bit more often is, you know, day in the life of our team and like what we do and what we like to put in our displays. What does that look like? I'm going to 100% share that Lego Enterprise with you guys once it's built. I still have no idea where I'm going to put it, and it's probably not going to get any views, but I'm still going to share it anyways because I can't freaking wait. So but hell yeah, dude. Eric, you're the man. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Thank you.
You know, Dwayne the Rock Johnson light. We love it. Mr. Louise, pop culture relics, anything coming up for you, buddy, that you're excited to share with the group? And dude, thanks for being here again, as always, sharing your crispy display and your great insights into collecting.
I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you, Ben. Always a pleasure being here. I know I've been out of the loop for a minute, but that doesn't mean I've stopped collecting. I don't know if I'll ever stop. But regardless, actually, just, we never actually just started streaming with Mario, Eric, and Harold, or Commander Green, if you know him. By that, does amazing photography as well. We do Uncivilized Scoundrels, kind of a play off of LWO from Mario's Friday night streams. We do it Tuesday. Every other Tuesday, we actually have our upcoming one this Tuesday. It's usually about 5:30 Pacific time, but it's purely Star Wars. So if anyone's a huge fan of Star Wars, if you know of anyone, of course, who's a fan of Star Wars, you're more than welcome.
87% of our audience today
Yes,
says they were a bigger fan of Star Wars than Trek. So
I
we're looking at you.
anticipate seeing the same traffic there. But yeah, it's this Tuesday, 5:30 Pacific. Just another way to, talk Star Wars, all great things, and show off here and there. But yeah, man, just hopefully have some upcoming pieces in the pipe soon. I'd say the biggest piece I'm really looking forward to, EFX just had their Vader reveal helmet, replica prop of the original Return of the Jedi reveal helmet by Darth Vader. That's been a grail piece of mine that I've always wanted ever since I've seen that scene. So that's hopefully coming maybe the next quarter or two. But yeah, that's another grail status for me. So that's probably one of the most anticipated pieces of 2026. Other than that, got some figures coming up. But yeah, just would love to get back in the saddle and nut up with you guys as often as I can.
I should have thought about this channel name way sooner. This is good. Getting extra hot every week. You love to see it.
Absolutely, man.
Well said. And you kept the attention of 70 people for all of your takes there, guys, all of your final recap, which means there's still a lot of meat on the bone. All of us have fun shit that we're, touching and talking about every single week. Luis there being on the 6 scale. What was it called? 6 scale Scoundrels?
Uncivilized Scoundrels.
Uncivilized Scoundrels. My apologies. Yeah. I'm getting my don't cross the streams is what they say, right? But that's a great show, and I love Mario and those guys. So make sure you say hi to them for me as well. But definitely tune in and please give support to all of my friends here, whether it's on Instagram or on their specific YouTube channels. Very, very appreciated. But guys, that's the show today. 2 hours and 41 minutes in. We got nuts, Mr. Adam. And thanks for watching, everybody.
Wow, what a great audience. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already.
Where should I go? What should I do? Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. It's gone. It's all gone.